to tell you we don't fit in your box. Why you try to bust me in? I got the key to unlock. I know the locksmith, optics. Speaking of loss, I'm eating lobster, chopsticks, freaking the...
Armstead has a big carry. First down! Touchdown! Armstead. Mazzoli escapes it and dumps it off. Gets rid of it, and a touchdown, Devontae Dedmon. Ottawa's Lewis Ward for the win. Out, down, kicked, and good. Lewis Ward does it again.
We won't stop.
In the Canadian Football League, with the difference in the rules, a little rust on Nathan Rourke.
Been a rough ride against Winnipeg. Now 0-3 in the regular season and 0-1 in the playoffs against the Bombers.
It's a Saturday night from the nation's capital where the red-hot RedBlacks welcome the Lions to town. Drew Brown returning as the starter after Jeremiah Masoli started in his place last week. No doubt the pressure on Brown, knowing Masoli is ready. Speaking of pressure, Nathan Rourke will be making his second start after a rusty game last Sunday. With a full week of practice, expectations much higher for the former most outstanding Canadian. We all expect him to be much better. It is Saturday night. Where else would you rather be than with us? Abraham alongside Enoch Mwamba, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Siegel as we get set for the RedBlacks taking on the BC Lions. These two teams currently going in opposite direction. But Enoch, once again, the story has to be Nathan Rourke. I mean, he was 126 passing yards, 8 of 25. We do expect him to be a lot better now being with the team a little more.
Absolutely. 1 week of practice can make a whole difference. And he had a whole week of practice. And now he kind of gets to learn his receivers a little bit better. And he's got to utilize Justin McInnis. It's just got to be told. This is a guy that's been leading the league in all types of statistics for receivers. And so he's got to lean on him. He's always finds his way himself to be open. And he's got to do that. He's got to find himself. He's got to find him open. And the biggest thing that he's got to change from last week is the 2 interceptions.
Yeah, a lot of hype, a lot of talk about Nathan last week. Winnipeg shut him down, and everybody's talking about is Nathan going to be better this week? Did he shake off the rust? And I don't think it's going to be so much about Nathan Rourke as it is going to be the Ottawa RedBlack defense, much like it was last week with Winnipeg. This is a tough nut to crack. The RedBlacks are for real defensively. I think it's been another long night for him, Milt.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on him right now. This team has lost 4 games in a row. They're saying Vernon Adams will be healthy next week. If Nathan Rourke goes out there and doesn't play well, do they replace him next week? I mean, that would be 5 games in a row if they lose this game, and they know how tough it is in the West. So Nathan Rourke, I know this is only his 2nd game back, but there's a lot of pressure on him in this game.
All right, we're just hoping for a great game on Saturday night. Last night's game, thoroughly entertaining. Lewis Ward, by the way, all-around good guys. Look at him taking a selfie with the fan and the phone drops. No, it's good. It's good. I got it. I got it back. By the way, Lewis, part of the all-decade RedBlacks team. We'll get you the kickoff right after this.
Money.
Thank you, Kate. And what's shaping up to be a beautiful night here in the nation's capital, looking at the Rideau Canal and in behind it. TD plays for the Lions and the RedBlacks off to their best start ever, celebrating their 10th year. Got a big win in Calgary dramatically last week. Feel-good story of the year, Jeremiah Masoli. But their number 1 QB, Drew Brown, is healthy and ready to go again tonight.
Yeah, Drew Brown was injured 2 games ago versus Saskatchewan, but missed just 1 game. That was the start against Calgary, as you mentioned. He is QB1 here in Ottawa, and he's good to go tonight. Brown's last full game, he got the win 3 games ago when he threw for 325 yards. It wasn't the start and the return that Nathan Rourke was looking for last week when he completed just 8 passes in 25 attempts versus a stingy Bomber defense. Rourke and this entire offense is trying to get on track after having some tough outings over the last 3-4 weeks.
Always a sentimental visit for Lions head coach Rick Campbell, who was the first ever head coach of the RedBlacks, won a Grey Cup here in 2016. And that same year, he hired a new special teams coordinator by the name of Bob Dice, who has never left Ottawa in his 2nd full season as head coach. And they're off to a 6-2-1 start. There's a former RedBlack. That's the returner for BC, Terry Williams. As Ottawa won the toss, they have diverged. So we'll see Nathan Rourke and the Lions offense coming first with Williams. on the return against his old club, and he gets it up across the 40, where Rourke, and Glenn, you talked about it, 8 for 25 and 126. It was a rusty start, if you will, last week against Winnipeg.
Yeah, his timing was off. He only had one practice with the number 1, so we probably should have tempered expectation a little bit. But he is the Nathan Rourke that we remember back 2 years ago when he led the Lions to a West final. Lost to the Bombers in that one, but it was a whirlwind week last week. One day with the number 1s. I have a feeling it might be a little different tonight.
Start number 2 this season for Rourke, and faking the handoff to William Stanback completes his first pass. That's Aiden Eberhardt. Eberhardt gets it up to midfield, and a first down right out of the gate. 15-yard pickup by Aiden Eberhardt.
Yeah, I think Keon Hatcher took the worst of trying to get a block out in front of Eberhardt, but he, again, taking his eyes downfield. Little play action fake to Stanback, who had a big game last week, was really the only positive for the Lions offensively. And look at the hit that Keon Hatcher took at the end of that.
1st and 10 in Red Black territory, right at the 54. Again, a play fake. That's completed to Justin McInnes, the leading receiver in the Canadian Football League. And Rourke and the Lions offense looking sharp a couple of plays into their opening drive.
This offense up front has always been led by Michael Couture, and he's had a bad back, but according to his coach and the offensive coordinator, Jordan Maksimic, he is back and healthy again. And I mentioned Stanback, first 100-yard game for William Stanback of the season, and was the sort of the bright spot on offense against the Bombers.
Down to the Ottawa 42. First down BC. Opening possession. He gets away from the pressure. Nathan Rourke takes off. And Rourke does get a good pickup on that first down. A 2nd and short coming up. This is what the Ottawa defense is facing.
No Bryce Carter up front on the defensive line, a defensive end, so Kenya Onyeka will replace him from out of Carleton University, right around the corner here. Looking back in the linebacking core, Frankie Griffin is back for game 3, coming off the injured list. Had a fumble recovery last week versus Calgary. And speaking of guys coming off the injury, this is game 2 for Brandon Dandridge. Expect some big plays out of him.
2nd and 2 after the 8-yard pickup by Nathan Rourke on the ground. And faking to stand back and throwing and going up. High pointing it and getting it nicely is McInnes, who already has 2 catches in this game. And DeAndre Lamont in coverage, but he brings it down for another BC first down.
Real nice catch at the end of this play as Nathan Rourke's got a little bit of pressure up front in his face. That's Malden, one of them. That's trouble. But his receiver bails him out when he can't be quite as accurate on this throw as he'd like to be because of that pressure.
Another pass, another completion, and once again using those fakes to William Stanback. Play action early. And a gain of 20 for McInnes. Leads the way in the receiving core of the CFL. Once again, throwing to the right to the end zone. That was intended for Alex Hollins, and a flag comes out. Elijah McGee with the hands up. Is he getting called for pass interference?
Pass interference. Ottawa number 29. The foul occurred in the end zone. The ball placed at the 1-yard line. Automatic first down.
Take a look at the one-on-one matchup between McGee and Alexander Hollins. Here they go, and you'll see the early contact. Little curl route coming back to the goal line. There's the push, then the ball goes by.
So an impressive start. Penalty 8-2 in this one. And in is David Mackey. The fullback is a quarterback for a play in short yardage, and he has himself another touchdown, number 4 in the season. And what a drive for Rourke and the BC Lions, moving right down the field, getting a penalty to set him up for Mackey, who has the opening touchdown.
Yeah, they like the short yardage, getting the big fullback in there and picking his spot off the left side. And no question, that ball crosses the plane. Great opening drive on the road for a team that has struggled in a big way over the last month offensively.
And that was, we're only one drive in, but the kind of thing we got used to with Nathan Rourke in 2022. Looking sharp early on. 6 plays, 69 yards in just over 3 minutes. The point after for the ever reliable Sean White. One more on the board. 7-0 to score. BC Lions have won 8 straight games against the Red Blacks, going back to a game here back in 2018, and they've had a very good start on the road.
Impressive drive by the Lions on the road in their first drive of this game. And I want to point out just the difference between this week and last week when it comes to the decisions and how quick they're being made by Nathan Rourke. That throw was obviously a designed quick throw, but that run was a decision. So was this. Negotiate the pocket, get it out of your hands. Even if it's a little off, receiver bails them out. 6 plays, 69 yards. Took 3 minutes off the clock.
By comparison, last week against Winnipeg, they got a touchdown by Mackey right at the very end of the game. Other than that, just a field goal drive. So a better start already. Devontae Dedmon has it. Ottawa getting the ball for the first time in this game as Dedmon takes it up out of bounds. And Drew Brown, who missed last week in Calgary, and filling in admirably was Jeremiah Masoli. But Brown, their number one, and has progressively gotten better with this Ottawa offense this season.
Yeah, no hesitation there. I mean, it was a great story, and it was nice to see Jeremiah Masoli coming off the bench after working through all the injuries he's had as a Red Black. But Drew Brown, it was clear from Coach Dice, he's QB1. He's our guy. We have a really strong quarterback room. We're real confident in it. But Drew Brown is our guy.
Raquel Rock Armstead is the running back beside Brown. At a shotgun and first down, throwing right away. Looking deep. Right! And he's got Braylon Addison! A big play Ottawa to get things started. Manny Rugamba in coverage on Addison, but he got behind, and Ottawa strikes quickly.
If you're the third receiver to the wide side of the field, there's a good chance you're going to get locked up with the Sam linebacker, and that's Manny Rugamba. It's a one-on-one, and Addison about a step and a half behind him. And how about the accuracy on the throw from Drew Brown, his first game back? Only missed one due to injury.
Gain of 42. On that hitch, coming back is Hardy, who takes it inside the 25. And close to, it looks like another first down on that play from Brown to Hardy, the Ottawa offense.
Darius Bladick was a last-second scratch, so they'll move Jacob Ruby into tackle in his spot. And when you talk about big games last week against Calgary, Rock Armstead got a couple of 100-yard games now. Getting better game in and game out.
He's been solid, one of the top running backs in the CFL this season. But Braylon Addison, how about him? He had the big catch to set up the winning field goal last week in Calgary, and dramatically with just seconds to go.
This is a good core, top to bottom.
So inside the 25, there he is, Rock Armstead. As he heads right inside the 20, gets it down to about the 17. How about the BC Lions defenses?
Jonah Tavai will play up front for Pete Robertson. He's down and off the roster due to injury. They thought that Ben Hladek would start at the middle linebacker spot, but it won't be Hladek. He had some issues in warm-up. He is dressed, but Ace Ely will start there. And then the back end, the veteran, TJ Lee, a couple games coming off the injured list. Had a nice pick last week versus Winnipeg.
Ottawa's first possession, one big play to Addison has moved them down in scoring range, swinging it out. Oh, Armstead. Ryder Varga was bearing down, but he just couldn't hang on to a very catchable ball, and like he was already making plans to take it upfield. That falls incomplete. 3rd down and 4 coming up.
I think you're right, Ryan. That's exactly what he was doing. He was trying to catch the ball as he was cutting back inside on Varga. Varga was in a dead tear to try and get out there and track him down. He was behind him by 2 yards and knew if he caught it, he possibly could turn the corner. So he was hustling to get there. And I think Armstead tried to make a cut before he had secured the ball.
Lewis Ward had the walk-off winner, his 3rd walk-off winner this season last week in Calgary from 51 yards. This much shorter from 24 to get the RedBlacks on the board. He is 34 of 38 in the field goal department. Nathan Rourke, last time he had the ball. First time in this game, down they went, leading to a touchdown drive. They're about to get it back. There were high expectations of Nathan Rourke last week for his season debut back in the CFL against Winnipeg. Not as sharp as we've seen tonight, Glenn.
Yeah, we mentioned 8 of 25. There's the stats below, but just take a look at this highlight pack, or I guess highlights for the Bombers on defense and the decisions that Rourke, he was at times holding the ball, not sure where he wanted to go with it. He had one practice with the #1 receiving corps, wasn't enough.
And he was apologetic. about it afterwards. Face the music. He was really disappointed in the way he played, and it's going well so far. Another completion. He's 4 for 4. 3 of those going to Justin McInnis, the CFL's leading receiver, getting it up across midfield.
Well, I thought it was, unnecessary for Nathan Rourke to apologize to everyone for his first game, but he also heard the hype, and he heard everyone talk about his return and all of that, and he knew he let a lot of people down, or at least he thought he did.
That was a gain of 16, and William Stanback finally gets a carry. Been a lot of fakes to him just about every play on that previous drive that ended up for a touchdown. The RedBlacks are worried about 31, a 9-yard pickup. The Stanback has been very productive this year.
Boy, and especially in his last 2 games, Rod. I mean, when you in your last 2 games are averaging as the tailback almost 7 yards a carry, I mean, that's success from that spot.
And Rourke in short yardage on a 2nd and 1. Getting the first down. Yes, Stanback. It was a slow start in the ground for him, for the ex-Alouette, but 3rd in the Canadian Football League in rushing now coming into this game.
So Nathan Rourke, after the game last week, stopped the questions for a second and said, I just want to start with a statement basically saying, I apologize. That wasn't my best effort by far, and I can already see a difference in how quickly he's making decisions.
Very true. Looking much crisper so far, and he gives to Stanback. He said they had faked to him all along before, and now he's got a couple of carries, and he pushes his way inside the 40. Here's what William Stanback did last week.
Yeah, coming in the week, 2nd in the league to Brady Oliveira in the CFL rushing title. And I mentioned really the only bright spot, because when you only complete 8 passes, there's not any receivers that have big nights, and certainly the quarterback didn't. So was there anything you can kind of build on if you're a BC Lion or Lion fan? And it was number 31.
And for Nathan Rourke, they get that running game going too. That's a real problem for Ottawa's offense. If he's looking much sharper in the passing, the whistle
timeout
goes, and
BC.
a timeout is called by the Lions.
Yeah, I think Rick Campbell called that from the bench because he saw the 20-second clock was about to expire, and they didn't want to delay a game.
Nathan Rourke, 10 games in his 2nd year in the CFL in 2022, and then he had the Lisfranc injury that put him out until he came back for the Western final. But he was on an historic pace in terms of yardage and touchdown passes and completion percentage. And now working with his offensive coordinator, Jordan Maximic, again. And despite the familiarity, it would take some time. In retrospect, we should have tempered expectation with one practice with the new group. Come on. Hardly playing at all in the last 2 years. 2nd and 4 at the Ottawa 37. And it's caught again by McInnis. Found his way open, and good yardage after the catch for Justin McInnis. Rourke and McInnis have something going early in this game.
Yeah, and with Justin McInnis, that long stride and the big frame that he has, we always talk about the reach, but he can also break tackles with that stride. He's got good solid base there, and as he twisted out of that, his size helped him.
Back to the ground, and Stanback, who gets it inside the 10. That's after a 26-yard pickup on the latest pass from Nathan Rourke to Justin McInnis. Already reminiscent of a game the Lions had earlier this year in Hamilton, where it was Vernon Adams at quarterback and McInnis was his favorite target, and he ended up with over 200 yards receiving and matched that against the Riders the following week. He shot up the standings in terms of receiving yardage and is still on top. Look at Rourke, 5 for 5. They're knocking on the door again. Inside the 10, 2nd and 8 at the Ottawa 9. End zone look, soft toss. And just out of bounds, intended there for Keon Hatcher, and just not quite. They're looking for the end zone. It's 3rd down and a field goal situation coming up for BC.
Yeah, he was looking for Hatcher in the throw behind and trying to throw it to that back shoulder and hope that Hatcher can make the adjustment and that the ball can be there in the right time. Because if you're throwing that throw behind, it's got to fool. You see that McGee cut underneath that. So he put it out there where only Keon Hatcher could get it, or it goes out of bounds.
Leading to another one of the most remarkable kickers the CFL's ever had, the ageless Sean White, looking to make it 47 straight. Second longest streak, and he gets it. Lewis Ward, his opponent tonight, has the record at 69, but White, another field goal made. Drew Brown coming back on at a 10-3 BC lead. This, the 10th anniversary of the Ottawa RedBlacks. They are honoring the all-decade team here at TD Place tonight, and there's several of them I see. It's
Brad Sinopoli.
Brad Sinopoli there.
Backwards, yeah.
Yeah. J. Dean. Patrick Lavoie saw him earlier at a Grey Cup touchdown in 2016. So Ottawa ball, but in behind the line, swinging it out for Justin Hart. He was caught in behind back at the 30. Manny Rugamba there, so lost yardage on that first down for Ottawa.
And we talked to Ryan Phillips, the defensive coordinator for the Lions, and asked him about this losing skid that the Lions have been on, and he said, the first thing we've got to correct is the fundamentals of tackling. So at the beginning of the year, we were a very good tackling team, and over the last 4 or 5 games, we've missed a lot of tackles, and that's kept us on the field longer than we want to be. And that was a great open field tackle by Rugamba.
Saw 41 there in the middle. Ace Ely, as Glenn had talked about, with Ben Hladek not playing. He's hurt. Ely's in to start. Middle linebacker. So the second down and long. Nick Mardner has it, and he gets now closer to the original line of scrimmage, back to the 40, still well shy.
It's a nice play by University of Regina round Ryder Varga here, because he's going to hustle out. You don't see him, he's on the left of your screen, but he's going to hustle out, and what makes this play is that he goes to the outside shoulder and makes the receiver run back inside. Mardner has to go back against the flow, and that's where all of Varga's friends are coming from.
The punt by Richie Leone. It's taken by Terry Williams, who finds an opening. Here we go, Williams. Leone chasing him down in the RedBlacks territory, down to the 45. Terry Williams, who was traded by Ottawa 2 years ago after they reacquired Devontae Dedmon. And that must be sweet against his old club. 36-yard return for Terry Williams. 7-point Lions lead, and they're back in the Ottawa zone. Back at TD Place, Rod Smith, Glenn Suter, and pleased to be joined again by Claire Hanna, back from her Olympic assignment, doing a great calling beach volleyball. Claire.
Well, thank you very much, Rod. Now let's focus a little bit on the CFL. And for the past year and a half, Nathan Rourke's focus and preparation has been very much behind the scenes as he's bounced around NFL teams trying to crack a roster. So last week, he told me when he was thrust into being the #1 guy, well, it was a big mental adjustment for him. All of a sudden, his actions had major weight. So it's a role he's been looking for, but it was tough to execute on just 3 days of prep. So this week, Rourke told me he was able to finally have a moment to breathe and recoup. And here's what's interesting. They had Monday off, but Rourke instead decided to practice. He said looking at the film, he felt his timing was off. So we went over some of the throws that he missed, got more comfortable with the receivers. And he says hopefully the rust has worn off, and it sure looks like it so far in this first quarter, guys.
Boy, no kidding, Claire. The way he's played so far, and 2 scoring drives, a touchdown, then a field goal, and then they have it again at the Ottawa 44 after that great return by Terry Williams, throwing again, completing another, this time for the first time in the hands of Keon Hatcher, and his second target of the night. So sets up a second down and short here for BC.
Yeah, I mean, offense is, it's all about rhythm. It's all about timing and precision. Keon Hatcher on that play had to make his break at 7 yards. That's what Nathan Rourke knew he was going to do, and threw that ball before he came out of the break. That's the difference, again, that we're seeing tonight that we saw in 2022.
Nathan Rourke is 6 of 7, 98 yards so far.
Oh, boy.
We got movement. Lots of it up at the line, and the laundry flying all over the field right now. The referee, Tom Valesi.
Procedure. BC number 65. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Suk Chung, the right guard, is called for the procedure.
He's the right guard, so he'll be right beside the ball, and that's a little bit of movement there. I think there was a couple others that jumped as well.
On both sides, once that got started. A lot of momentum at the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 6 now with that penalty, so longer way to go. And Eberhard has it. And it's not even down to around the 36. So they pick up a few more yards. It's a 3rd and short, but it would be where they're spotting it looks like about 2 yards for Rick Campbell. So he takes a look.
Well, they're putting it, he's got his foot on the 35. So the ball's been placed on the 35.
They just moved it up. So now it is a yard, and now it is
short yardage.
Short yardage situation.
Yeah, Mackey's back out. Short yardage situation.
Using the fullback as the short yardage quarterback. We've seen Hamilton do it with Antti Litre as well.
And Nathan Rourke goes out to play wide receiver up at the top of your screen.
And Mackey keeps it. Looks like he has enough. Had to get it to about the 34, and it looked like his momentum would carry him that way. The product of Western getting his chance in these short yardage situations has picked up. As mentioned, he got his 4th touchdown of the season tonight. He had one last week right at the end of the game, and that lost to Winnipeg as well.
Well, I like the strategy when you have a fullback doing that can take the center snap, so you have to be able to do that, and that's an art in itself. But once he gets that down, I like the strategy for 2 reasons. One, he's a big, strong guy that can push the pile. The other is it takes a hit away from your starter.
That was a big story with Vernon Adams at Toronto in week 1, all the hits he was taking, and they decided to make a change, and now they handle short yardage. Toss inside on the sweep, and the RedBlacks. Lorenzo Malden coming in, and nothing's happening for BC on that first down play.
Yeah, this is a good defense, and they're going to try and figure out exactly what Nathan Rourke is trying to do, what Jordan Maximic's trying to do. They're going to continue to plug the holes and figure out exactly what the strategy is so that they can react, and that's just a good redirect by one of the top defensive linemen in the league. It's hard when you're that big to make a tackle like that in open space.
A member of the RedBlacks all-decade team, as is Cleon Lang up there, still playing. 2nd and 11. And again, McInnes. But that's the final play of the first quarter and doesn't get down to the 30. We're going to have a 3rd down. Looks like we're going to be seeing Sean White coming back on to start quarter number 2 and try to keep his streak going. The Lions trying to end a 4-game losing streak against the red-hot RedBlacks. Back at TD Place in a moment here on TSN. First quarter stats in Ottawa. One of the big questions coming in, Glenn, was how would Nathan Rourke respond to a debut that he certainly wasn't happy with? They have to be a whole lot happier so far.
Yeah, well, they're lining up for another field goal, so it'd be 13 points basically in the first quarter. He's completed 9 of 10 passes. That's 90% completion percentage, over 100 yards. Remember, last week, all game long, he only completed 8 throws. So he's already surpassed that in the first quarter in this one. You can see the timing is better, and it looks like, it's a long game, and it's just a couple of series there, but the timing looks like it's coming back.
And once again, a possession has led to a scoring try, in this case, another field goal try for Sean White. So they switch ends to start the second quarter, and we're looking at about a 37-yard try for 38-year-old Sean White, who's just been timeless in this department with BC, with Montreal and Edmonton too, but this is to make it 48 straight. They already got the 2nd longest in history behind Lewis Ward, and looking to get that much closer in this one. It's blocked. The RedBlacks. Dedman takes it in the end zone, and it's a no yards flag coming out on that too. But Sean White, 46 straight field goals made, and the RedBlacks block on his 47th attempt.
It may have been Javon Santos-Knox. It looked like he timed his jump right there in the middle of your screen. Is it Santos-Knox to get his hand? He got up there. I think he got his right hand on it. He did a little...
no yards. BC, that penalty will be declined. 1 point is scored.
Did a little LeBron James just rejection at the hoop there. Just got up with that right and was hanging in the air for a few seconds to knock that down.
Great height and great timing too for Javon Santos-Knox to block the kick and end the streak for Sean White at 46. What a remarkable run for White. First field goal try. He hasn't come up with 3 for BC this season. It goes well back into last year. Ottawa football, They declined the no yards for field position, so they gave up the point, but they get to start at the 40. Manny Rugamba in on that tackle.
Yeah, Rugamba, what a great play by Rugamba. Watch him redirect here. He's coming on a blitz on Drew Brown right off the edge here, and he goes to Brown first and then redirects to make the tackle on Armstead. Watch this. Gives the ball away, so he redirects from the quarterback and catches Armstead from behind. That's great footwork.
So they pick up 2. He's fired up. It's a 2nd and 8 now for Ottawa, trailing now 11-3. 8-point difference. The throw by Brown. Open is Addison. Second big catch he's had in this game. That one gets into the Lions zone down to about the BC 46 for Braylon Addison.
You got to remember that Drew Brown in a game this season against Edmonton threw for 480 yards. I mean, he's put up some numbers now, and this is a great throw over the middle. That's a traffic area. You have to be precise or it's going the other direction. He put that right on the money.
Gain of 22 yards. Faking the handoff, rolling out to the right, throwing it down deep to the right. Martner, Dominic Rhymes, excuse me, with the flag coming out. Ex-BC Lion Dominic Rhymes with the football down near the goal line.
Yeah, there's a flag down there, Rod, and this may be offensive pass interference. There was a slight push by Dominic Rhymes, but it looked like that's exactly when the flag came out.
Offensive pass interference. Ottawa number 15. 10-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Really well played. You'll see a great look at it here. This is what they're calling the push to get a bit of separation. And Adrian Green, you know, if he puts his hand on him and doesn't push him backwards where you see the shoulders go back, he probably gets away with that. But that was just enough of a push to get a yard of separation. I think they got the call right.
Yeah, I think they did too. OPI against Dominic Rhymes had some great years as a member of the Lions and going against his old team for the first time, but the penalty negates that big game. So back on the ground to Ryquell Armstead. They were starting back at midfield after that penalty. Still a long way to go here on 2nd down.
Another good throw though by Drew Brown to put enough on it to get it out and past Adrian Green there. A couple of real nice throws from QB1 here in Ottawa.
You're going to need another longer one too. They want to keep this drive going in a 2nd and 16 at the BC 52. 11-3. The Lions starting quickly. 3-man rush. They set up a screen, but it's not happening at all back at midfield as that's Ryder Varga getting the start. A weak side linebacker making the play.
You know, this is again, this is the intended target. This is Justin Hardy out there, and he's going to just run this little screen. But watch inside out. Remember when Ryder Varga went outside because he was the first guy to the tackle? That turned the receiver back into his friends. This time he knew he was an inside out tackler and was right there.
Last time Terry Williams had a 37-yard punt return, but he is near the sideline. He cuts it back across the 20, but this time the RedBlacks have it nicely covered, and a flag does come out with Williams being taken down. And Nathan Rourke getting set to come on the field again. Beautiful night here in Ottawa. RedBlacks first of 2 against BC. They'll meet again next week. Week 12 continues tomorrow with the 2nd meeting of the season of the Edmonton Elks and the Montreal Alouettes, and that guy Cody Fajardo is back after missing 3 games with a hamstring injury. You can watch it on TSN tomorrow 7 Eastern 4 Pacific from Molson Stadium in Montreal. Edmonton and Montreal, they certainly have a history, don't they? Going back a long ways and renewing it tomorrow. And Edmonton coming off that huge win over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The Elks have won 3 straight. And the way the West has been going lately, don't assume anything. Edmonton's getting right back in it. Nathan Rourke back on, handing off to Williams, stand back right side. First down, and gets it across the 20. I mentioned the history. They had met in the Grey Cup 3 times in the 50s, but then started a run in 1974, 50 years ago. The Alouettes fell behind at Empire Stadium in Vancouver, but they came back. Marv Levy was their head coach. Yeah, it was slick back at Old Empire. And they hoisted the Grey Cup in 1974. 50 years ago, Suits. And the Alouettes will celebrate.
Yeah, there's been a few more rings added to that Grey Cup, hasn't there? But yeah, and they'll be wearing those retro jerseys. That game tomorrow night.
That tomorrow, they remember the 74 champions in Montreal after a 13-yard pickup stand back. Rourke under pressure, and they've got him. Nathan Rourke is sacked. He's taken down back at the BC 15-yard line. And it's Cleon Lang from the inside getting some push and helping out in that Ottawa defense.
They're physical up front. They can win a lot of battles without sending blitz. This time it's just good control pass rush, and then Cleon Lang up the middle finally beats his man and gets home. But they can get pressure with that group. Mike Wakefield's having himself a season. Of course, we've talked about Lorenzo Mullen and Cleon Lang, the veteran. Onyeka with some fresh legs in there tonight.
Loss of 6. So second and long, BC off to the left. It's intercepted. There are lots of RedBlacks in the area when that ball came down. And Ottawa takes over. The third interception thrown by Nathan Rourke since the comeback. In the hands of Elijah McGee with his second pick of the season.
McGee was sitting outside. Keon Hatcher did not know that he was there. He's running a deep, deep out. That's the throw that Nathan Rourke wants here, but look at the coverage. McGee wanted them, but he was the high guy sitting on the outside shoulder, and Keon Hatcher didn't know. He was waiting for this ball to come down to him. He thought the only two defenders were in front of him. And look at McGee go up and get it.
Bennett Williams was there, and DeAndre Lamont and Cleon Lang did a big play before that one, and loving that with the turnover. And Nathan Rourke, as mentioned, he threw a couple last week against Winnipeg, and after a very hot start in this game, cooling off there with the pick thrown. The BC 34. It's a 1st and 10 for Ottawa. Drew Brown faking the handoff off to the right now for Dominic Rhymes. Ex-Lion down to the 25. Last catch was negated by a penalty. That time he has a pickup of 9.
Yeah, going back to that offense cooling off, Rod. Pressure can really cool you off. A good pass rush can cool off an offense in a big, big way. That last play, just trying to get Rhymes back with the ball in his hands. He's been targeted a bunch more over the last 4 or 5 games for Ottawa.
And is now their second leading receiver behind Hardy on the RedBlacks. It's Raquel Armstead picking up a few yards. He had a big game last week in Calgary, well over 100 in that game.
Yeah, we had a good talk with Dominic Rhymes this week and had a chance to ask him about his time with the BC Lions, his time with Vernon Adams and or Nathan Rourke. And how, you know, it's those I would'ves, the I would've moments, right? And when you're practicing against your teammates, it's the I would have moments. You know, those moments where you're standing right beside them in a play in practice and you go, I would have knocked the ball down there in a real game.
End zone look for Brown, and is it picked off right back nearly by Gary Peters. Great coverage on Jalen Acklin. He went up, he had his hands on the ball, but just couldn't come back down with it to answer back for a BC pick.
Yeah, this is a great matchup because it's two star players, and when you take a look at Gary Peters, one of the best lockdown corners in the league.
So it's a 2nd and 10 at the BC 22. Touchdown denied by Gary Peters. Drew Brown.
Yeah.
He has time over the middle. Touchdown.
Wow. What a great throw.
That's Acklin. Went right back to him. And yeah, beautiful pass to get the RedBlacks a touchdown.
Sudden change, and the Ottawa RedBlacks take full advantage. Don't waste too much time. When you get that turnover by your defense, you want to come on, just keep that momentum going. But look at the timing on that throw and the accuracy. Ryder Varga is in chase position on Ackland, and that ball goes right over his shoulder and drops into Jalen Ackland's hands.
So the Red Blacks make BC and Nathan Rourke pay for the interception by Elijah McGee, and they get the touchdown off it, and they'll go for 2 now to tie this game up. Approaching the midway point of the second quarter, and Ottawa with the touchdown, Jalen Ackland. Touchdown number 3 in the season for him. For 2 points. And there's contact. Braylon Addison wants a flag. Manny Rugamba was in on him. And Bob Dice has the challenge flag in hand, and he is ready to use it by the looks of things. Waiting for word.
Yeah, he's waiting to see a couple looks. It's a scoring attempt. Challenge flag in his hand. I thought when I saw it live that it was a little bit early contact. I'm not sure if it was the same, that enough to push Braylon Addison sort of not, well, there's a grab too on his left hip.
Addison, after the Ackland touchdown, Addison immediately came up. We'll wait and see how they sort this one out.
Let's go back to the touchdown first. Here's Ackland, and I want to show you how accurate the throw was from Drew Brown and how accurate it was, but also the timing of it. Varga gets into a chase here on Ackland. Now stop it right there. I mean, look at how tight he is, and yet he has no idea that the ball's about to arrive, and so accurate right over his shoulder. Good concentration by Ackland, wasn't distracted by Varga. Touchdown Ottawa.
And there was no penalty on that 2-point try, no challenge, so it is a 2-point game. BC still leading. Terry Williams on the return as he gets it up across the 40. Going down at the 44. Jalen Ackland started his career with Hamilton, 3rd season now as a member of the Ottawa RedBlacks. Caught some big passes from his old Hamilton teammate Jeremiah Masoli last week in Calgary as well.
Yeah, really coming on the last couple of games as well. And, you know, the only thing that I think is sort of missing from his game that we've seen before in a big way is those explosion plays. Had a few in the first 5 games and kind of disappeared, but he'll take a touchdown throw.
Nathan Rourke back on after throwing the interception to Elijah McGee. They run it. It's stand back trying to go left. Damon Webb coming in and run support too with Malden there. Down he goes around the 44. A short gain there for BC. 2nd and long coming up.
Yeah, we're starting to see this Ottawa defense settle in now. I think in that first couple of drives, Nathan Rourke timing was very good. Some real accurate throws, tough to defend even when you're playing the right defense. But Baron Miles' group has settled in this second quarter. Got some pressure on Nathan, forced the turnover. They got him in 2nd and long again.
Talk about facing your old team as a player. Baron Miles, a Hall of Famer, many good years with BC. From the 45, Rourke escapes the pressure. He takes off. And across midfield, he's still on his feet. What a run by Nathan Rourke. Still going. Rourke all the way down and out of bounds. Deep inside Ottawa territory. 2 years ago here, he had a run for a touchdown around the left edge for 50 yards. Pretty good run there for number 12.
William Stanback gets the assist because he picks up the blitz, and that's the alley that Nathan Rourke can get away. He takes off through that alley. Watch as the back picks up his man at the top of your screen right there. Now there's an escape lane for Rourke, and then he puts on a show after that. A good move there to break outside and break a tackle. Another tackle broken there. Back to the inside. He had a big run a couple years ago right here in Ottawa in short yardage that scored in this corner of the end zone.
That was for 50. This is for 51. This is the longest run he's had in his career now. Both of them coming in Ottawa and back to the running of William Stanback. So another momentum swing going BC's way. Their lead is down to 2, but they are threatening again inside the 10.
I love the reaction from Nathan Rourke after the run too. You know, He can feel it. He can feel that it's starting to come together again. His game is starting to return to him. Can't wait to hear our Hall of Fame quarterback's opinion of it at halftime.
We will, I'm sure. Coming up 6:10 on the clock and counting down until the half, 2nd and 5. Rourke and the Lions threatening again. 4-man rush off to the right. Stand back, just can't hang on to it. He would have had a chance to take that into the end zone. That close.
Well, I think you would have scored. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't miss by much. I think Rourke is trying to pull him away from any defender that's in chase seat just to the right of your screen, but it's one thing to do that with a receiver, another with a tailback. Stanback has great hands for a tailback, but that's for a tailback.
And how about this? 3rd and 5 at the 9. They're going for it.
Or maybe trying to draw him offside.
Or trying to draw him off. I mean, they do have Sean White in the bank as they're facing Bank Street.
Time count violation. BC number 12. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Well, it's a penalty, but not the one they were looking for. But as I said, they got Sean White who can come on and look to see if they can increase the lead by 3 more.
Yeah, no, you're ready to take that penalty, the delay of game. You try and draw him twice. If you can't draw him offside and get the free 5 yards and a first down there, or at least be right in short yardage where you can get the first down, then you take the delay of game. And because Sean White's, I won't jinx him, but this is a close field goal. This is a very makeable
little chip shot for him, 21 yards, and
he's getting so boring.
Well, I mean, Javon Santos-Knox certainly made it interesting the last time in this game that White lined up, and his long streak, 47 straight made, 2nd longest streak in history going back to last year, came to an end with the block by Santos-Knox. So White's looking to start a new one now, make it 1.
But you're saying that the only way to have Sean White miss a field goal is to block it.
Just to have it blocked. And Lewis Ward has been pretty darn good himself.
No
Knew
question.
that feeling against Saskatchewan a couple of weeks ago. He was 5 for 7. His misses were actually blocks. Riders blocked 2 of them. So Ward can relate. Although after this, well, he can relate to the remarkable run White was on too. Just incredible. And now not blocked that time. 21-yarder up and through, and we got a new streak for Sean White at 1. 3 more on the board as the lead is now 5 for BC. It was hard not to feel good for Jeremiah Masoli last week in Calgary. Playing in his first game in over 400 days, had the touchdown pass to Devontae Dedmon, first CFL win since 2019. More in the quarterback room for the RedBlacks now from Claire.
Thanks very much, Rod. And when Jeremiah Masoli was brought into the RedBlacks, it was the expectation that he was going to be the #1 quarterback. But then he dealt with so many injuries and adversity. Many wondered if he'd ever play again. So when he led them to the win against the Stampeders last week, well, guys said it was magical in the tunnel. There were tears of joy. So how does this affect the offense now that Drew Brown, who just got that completion, now that Drew Brown is back in the game? Well, here's the thing. This is the first time since 2018 with Trevor Harris that the RedBlacks feel really confident about their quarterback situation. Dominic Grimes says you pray for times like this. Either one can come in and lead the team, and then they won't miss a heartbeat. But Dice says they have an outstanding situation now, and they're super excited about it.
Thank you, Claire. That one, a big one to Braylon Addison's having a great game so far. My apologies, too. I said 2019. I meant 2021 with the Hamilton Tiger Cats the last time. And 999 days for Jeremiah Masoli, but getting the win last week in Calgary.
Yeah, I don't think if you're a fan of football in our country, you were cheering for Jeremiah there. And it was emotional night for his teammates, as Claire mentioned. I went and talked to him on the field before the game and just congratulated him on the big comeback. And I'll tell you what, that quarterback room right now is solid, as she just said.
With Dustin Crum there, too, and he's been called into action so far this season. It's caught by Acklin. Jalen Acklin, another catch. He has the RedBlacks touchdown in this game. Picks up 12 more yards, gets it inside the 30.
I just marveling right now at the accuracy that Drew Brown is showing. Quick recognition here against his own look and just hits his underneath route knuckling, but it's enough to get a new set of downs.
At the BC 29, 14-9, Lions leading it. Drew Brown. Josh Archibald nearly got him. Then the production improves as he rolls out to the right. He gets rid of it, intercepted. He threw it back as he was heading out of bounds, and it was costly. As now the RedBlacks have turned over the football. Manny Rugamba with the interception for BC.
So much good about this for Drew Brown, except one thing at the very end, and that's to break the Cardinal sin of rolling to your right as a right-handed quarterback, throwing against the grain, back into the middle, and the ball just never has enough zip to get home there. Even on the short, intermediate throws, it's very difficult. You can't get your weight and your shoulder behind it, and it allows a DB to undercut those throws. Rugamba gets the interception, and Drew Brown broke the rule.
And a flag came out right at the RedBlacks bench.
After the play, 10-yard misconduct, BC number 24. 10-yard penalty, first down.
So Patrice Rene, BC 24, it said it was thrown at the RedBlacks bench, but it's a Lions penalty on Rene after Manny Rugamba had his first interception of the season. To start a little bit further back towards the end zone, though, after that penalty. And a reminder, in those misconduct fouls, when any player gets 2 in a game, they're out of the game. We're just outside their 10 now for Nathan Rourke, but unscathed in that Ottawa possession after the interception. Rourke to go to work, stepping up, and they've got him. It's Lorenzo Malden, one of the sack leaders on the RedBlacks. Defensive Player of the Year 2 years ago with a big play.
Yeah, so good because of his speed. He can get up the field, get into his pass rush, a little bit of a bull rush, pushes the tackle back, and then redirects and sees Nathan Rourke escape down the middle, catches him from behind. That's a guy that weighs in at 260, 6'4".
Got some speed too, that size. And Rourke does pick up a couple of yards. He crossed the line of scrimmage and tackled by Malden. 2nd and 8 now at the BC 13. 4-man rush again. Oh, intercepted again. Darius Pickett. And Rourke has been picked off twice in this first half. With just under 3 minutes to go, yes, Pickett, a Darius, new RedBlack defender. Their coverage linebacker picks up interception number 2 of the season. Back and forth they go with turnovers. As Ottawa's defense gets another one. Or do they? We'll sort that out coming back. Well, we thought Nathan Rourke was intercepted again, but have another look at Darius Pickett.
Yeah, I don't think he caught that ball. That ball hit the turf.
Here's the announcement.
After review by the command center, the previous play was an incomplete pass. It'll be 3rd down.
But a heck of a play by Darius Pickett to get out there, make that diving attempt. I saw it live. You could tell by his body language he was trying to gather it up off the turf. So the Lions dodge a big one there.
So they reviewed, and command center got it right. No interception. Devontae Dedmon is back as BC will get to punt it away now. There's still 1 interception thrown by Nathan Rourke tonight. Stephen Flintoff standing at the Lions end zone. It's a 5-point difference in this game. Under 3 minutes to go. As Flintoff sends it the way off the hop of Devontae Dedmon at midfield. And works his way down inside the Lions 50. Halftime coming up. Let's send it to Kate Burness in studio.
Rod, we have a big halftime planned here. It was going to be the QB battle, but now these defenses might change our plans. And guess what's back? We even got a logo for it.
Oh,
it's Straight Fire!
Hi, kid.
Can't miss straight fire. Kate in the panel coming up. That's 2:37 away. Last week in Edmonton, I was nominating a few plays, including a flag football one.
Nice. I like it.
Big catch by Hergy Mayala. So I'm just making it difficult if they're not in straight fire. Just bringing them up. Ball's out, and it's recovered. We do have another turnover on the football. Is Ryder Varga off that fumble by Raquel Armstead. So 2.5 minutes to go.
Azili makes the hit on Armstead, and that's when the ball comes out, but it's always reviewed. Every turnover is, so I know Ottawa fans will anxiously wait to see if the command center finds any evidence that would. No, that ball's straight out. He didn't helmet directly to the football, which is what you're taught. Tackle the football. If you do that, you have a chance of knocking it out of the ball carrier's hands. And
alertly recovered by Ryder Varga, giving that credit to Azili. And turnovers by the Ottawa offense in their last 2 plays. BC ball. BC lead by 5. Late first half. Nathan Rourke over to the right, and it's caught 2. Aberhart has it at a first down in the Ottawa zone, down around the 41-yard line. And here come the Lions all of a sudden.
See how Aberhart just played that ball? It's going to come right into your living room here. His little half roll for Nathan Rourke, and he plays it at the back pedal. Not kind of running a route and breaking to the outside to the sideline. He actually turned around and backpedaled so he could catch it and then go get a couple of yak yards on his own for the first down.
Hayden Aberhart, second year out of Wyoming. And gets him down around the Red-Black 41. Still plenty of time here until halftime. Handing off to William Stanback, right side. Helmet comes off as they immediately whistle that one down, even though he's still on his feet. Greeting from Javon Santos Knox there as he picks up about 4 or 5 yards for the Lions. Second down coming up here for BC. From the Ottawa 37. And Rourke completes another one inside the 30. That's good for a first down. That's Keon Hatcher with it.
I'll tell you what, Nathan Rourke, after throwing that almost interception to Pickett, he didn't hesitate on this. Pickett was closing from inside out on this throw. He just spots Keon Hatcher and knifes it in there. And watch how close number 6 was. Just had a very close, almost interception, a very similar play.
Very close to getting that one before that was nullified. Well, that one looked like it was knocked at the line of scrimmage a bit, but it headed in. Still could have been caught by Alexander Hollins, and it falls incomplete just around inside the Ottawa 25.
Yeah, it should have been caught. Tipped or not tipped. That hit him between the 1 and the 3. Happens to the best of them, but that's on Hollins. Just took his eyes off it.
So 2nd and 10 now at the Ottawa 28. 1.5 minutes to go till halftime. Evading the rush, and then it gets knocked away by Javon Santos Knox. What a nuisance he's been to BC tonight. Got the hands up to block the Sean White field goal, try to end that streak, and he just knocked away that throw by Nathan Rourke to force a 3rd down for BC.
Yeah, I think Rourke in the scramble was trying to get the ball to William Stanback. William Stanback's going to try and maybe pick up a chip. Malden flushes him. You see how he tries to throw it around Knox. He reacts, but in behind Santos Knox was Stanback.
So it'll be a 35-yard try now from Sean White. 2 for 3. That one was blocked earlier, and he had a good one, and he has another good one here to get his new streak. The new Sean White streak is up to 2 now after that one of 47 came to an end earlier. Kate, Enoch, Matty, and 85, Milt Stegall. And we're going to talk about this game. They got some straight fire for you as well. That's coming up at the half here.
Well, I talked to the coaches here tonight and had a chance to visit with some of them, and I asked them. I said, "Did you see Milt run his 40?"
Yeah.
And they said, "Yeah, we did." And, we had a contract all worked out, and then we saw that 40 time, and we thought, well, maybe we switch positions. I don't know.
Well, you were saying O-line now. Has it really come to that?
Well, he has got to get in the weight room if he's going to do that. But
yeah, he's got to beef up.
What was it, a 5'3" or something?
Well, I'm not throwing stones because 5'3" sounds pretty fast for me, but it was by Milt standards, and he complains about the timer. But it was 5'3" something. It was. There's a deep look. Drew Brown into coverage and nearly intercepted again. That's Patrice Rene right there with the Red Blacks receiver Dominic Rhymes falling incomplete.
That's your safety for the BC Lions, Patrice Rene. He's had about 4 starts in a row back there, and he's in excellent position, playing the deep ball down the seam, and Dominic Rhymes becomes DB and rips it out of his hands because he has the best chance at it. And at this point, Rhymes is saying, okay, not another turnover. He almost fought that ball away from him.
Barely a minute left, 1:11, 2nd and 10. Very little pressure at it. It's caught there by Hardy. Justin Hardy, his biggest play of the night. And there might be a chance for Lewis Ward coming up soon, at the very least, after a pickup of 26 yards to get into the Lions zone.
Watch Hardy as he comes out of his break here. Little outside fake, and then he's going to go in behind Ely, the linebacker, and that ball arrives right when it needed to.
The Red Blacks' leading receiver, Justin Hardy, who now has 4 catches for 24 yards. He'd lost yardage before. That one was for 26. Handing off. Armstead left side inside the 40. So certainly within the Lewis Ward range. Still 46 seconds to go on the clock.
I love that play call. You know, and people say, well, there's only 46 seconds. Throw it, throw it, throw it, throw it. Let's see if you can score a major. But, you know, stay with your offense. Still got lots of time to run 4, 5, 6 plays maybe. Maybe even more if you're efficient. Got to get the first down here.
We're at the 37 of BC. The Lions took the early lead. Touchdown drive in their opening possession. They've led the whole way. Armstead, few more yards. Flag coming out. Has enough for a first down on that 2nd and 3 play. Well, wait to see what the flag is.
Yeah,
holding. Ottawa number 54. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
This changes the strategy.
Those 10 yards sure does.
Sione Tahema, I believe, was the guy that drew the holding call on Jacob Ruby. Just look for the defensive lineman who puts his hands up after a play. This is a cut to the backside. You saw 54 grab the jersey.
28 seconds to go. And it's caught by Rhymes. They say he's in. No catch. Dominic Rhymes caught the ball but couldn't get a foot down.
TJ Lee got his 27th career interception last week versus the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Real nice one, and he's close on this. He forces Drew Brown. He forces Drew Brown to put it to that outside shoulder because of his positioning, and Rhymes just couldn't get that toe inside.
And so that was certainly a costly holding penalty, as it's going to make it harder for Lewis Ward. Back at the 54 where Richie Leone will put it down. His season high is 51. Did that twice, including the game winner last week in Calgary. Here we go. From 54 out, Lewis Ward has his new season high. And no problem for him. An all-decade member in that Red Black team, Lewis Ward. What a career, and still a young man. 17-12. 5-point difference again with BC continuing to lead. 18 seconds to go on the clock.
But when you're in a groove, when you're feeling it, and these two kickers have been feeling it all season long, you can change your technique, change the trajectory of the ball when it leaves your foot. It's like being a golfer that's so tuned in, you can drive one into the wind and a low one. That's what he did on that kick. That kick was so low. I mean, you could almost just put your hands up at the line and block it, but he needed to do that to get the distance.
Lewis Ward,
nailed it.
Before this season, he'd never had a walk-off winner. He's had 3 this year, and also a walk-off tying field goal against Saskatchewan 2 weeks ago. So time running out. Nathan Rourke, Lions lead. Javon Catoy gets his first catch of this game. Pushed out there by Damon Webb with just 11 seconds to go, and BC still in their own zone.
Not kneeling down to get to halftime and start over. But a 15-yard throw puts Sean White into field goal position.
Last week in Calgary, we talked a lot about Lewis Ward and Rene Paredes. And
got to hurry, though.
Yeah, they do have to go fast now. That clock just winding right down. Not happening. But Sean White, remarkable career he's had, too. That streak ending tonight. They just run it down, running it into the dressing room as we are at halftime now. Interesting. Nathan Rourke. Mentioned again, Glenn, we wondered how he'd respond after a little rusty last week against Winnipeg, and he looked very sharp on that opening drive, but things have kind of settled down since then.
Well, a couple of drives he looked very good in, and we've seen what he can do running the ball a couple of times tonight too already. I think he got in trouble, and I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say he got in trouble when he started looking down receivers.
One of those receivers, Justin McInnis, was part of that hot start. 5 catches for 79 yards, the longest to 26. Here's McInnis now with Claire.
Thanks very much, Rod. There's been this quarterback carousel for you guys recently. So much emphasis on your passing game. How would you evaluate that so far this match?
Yeah, you know, we came out firing, stalled a few drives. We just got to put those drives in the end zone. But, you know, I think right now we're happy with our game plan. We're happy with things are going. Just got to keep it going.
Your second game working with Nathan Rourke, just how much more comfortable does he feel this game?
Oh, absolutely. You can see his demeanor and everything. We have the most confidence in him, just like we know that he has the most confidence in us. So, you know, we just tell him put the ball in the area, got to go make plays, and, you know, I think that's what we're doing right now.
Thank you, Justin.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, Kate, to you guys in Toronto.
Lee, we're going to start talking about Nathan Rourke. Back alongside Enoch Mohamba, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel. And Matt, when we saw Nathan at the beginning of the game, as Glenn just alluded to, I mean, he looked fantastic all of a sudden. And then it settled down. He had the pick. He had the near pick for Pickett. But he's using his legs, too. I mean, he's got 63 yards on the ground as well. Yeah. Overall, much better than we saw last week.
Yeah, and you can expect that, too, right? I think all of our expectations were off the chart last week, and he faced a tough defense that came in with their noses and the jaw set and said no. So he's in. Obviously, those practices help Nathan. And look, when you're a young quarterback trying to figure it out, you love the fact that you're in a Jordan McSimic offense where you have quick throws, the ball's out, and you got receivers like Justin McInnis who had a heck of a half, and it's good to see them on the same page because he's going to help out any quarterback, let alone Nathan Rourke. And here's a good example of that. Ball is extremely high. He goes and takes it down. And Kate, you talked about his legs, right? We knew that he brought this to the table, and he's just showing off. Enoch, you're yelling at me. He's, get out, get out. And he's saying, no, I'm going for 51 to show you and remind people what's up.
Then I said, I like it.
Yeah, and you know, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. This is what he brings to the table. He's a freewheeler. But what you saw most of his success with was short completions underneath, not a lot of yards, and he got in trouble when he started to push it down the football field. And those plays take some development, and those plays take more time to get on the same page with the receivers in the offense. And so, you know, we're going to see if that can continue. But credit the Ottawa RedBlack defense, Milt, for stepping up to the plate there and saying, no, we're going to kind of clamp down here, put them in second and longs. That's what you saw in the first half.
Defense and their offense is playing well, led by their young quarterback and Drew Brown. And we saw the one mistake when he threw an interception trying to force it with the crossbody throw. But besides that, this man has been matching what Nathan Rourke has been doing. He missed last week. Of course, Mazzoli stepped in and did a great job. But Drew Brown is back to being quarterback one, and you see why. He's making some great throws. He had a couple of great throws to Addison. Of course, the touchdown throw. But this is their guy. This is the guy who's going to lead them if they want to have some success. And you look at this touchdown throw. This is a thing of beauty. First of all, the receivers do their job. You see the first receiver go through. Ackland slow plays it. So Drew Brown understands that all the pressure's on that safety. The safety goes to the corner. He drops a beautiful throw behind the ear of the linebacker to Ackland. So Drew Brown is looking like a veteran. I know this is his first year starting, but he's looking pretty good.
He's looking really good. Both quarterbacks are looking good. Very explosive plays. And you talk about Nathan Rourke, Matty. He was looking good. But a few hiccups that he had, this defense is impressing me out there in Ottawa. They started a little slow, but they started to pick it up. This defense out here, we're talking about Lorenzo Malden, Cleon Lang. Here we see Lang bring down Nathan Rourke. We had to see Nathan Rourke out of the pocket, and a lot of the times it wasn't intentional, but this defense was great. Here we got Elijah McGee, who makes a great play, great vertical, as you see right there. and gets down with the ball. Now, you got to create turnovers when you're playing against a guy, Nathan Rourke. He's starting to understand what he's doing with this offense. This is what they need to do. We got Javon Santos-Knox with the vertical. I was not familiar with your game, my man. And Milt, linebackers are athletic, and Javon is showing us that right now. He might be more athletic than you were when you were on the field.
Hold on. You were so biased. It's ridiculous.
You weren't athletic, Enoch.
Are you kidding me? We trained together. I like it, Javon. That's what I like to see.
Enoch, you couldn't jump over a credit card, Enoch.
Did you see that airtime? He's representing all of us. He's representing all of us, and that's all that matters. Keep going.
Enoch, I'm with you. Linebackers are some most athletic players on the football field.
Not Enoch.
All around.
Listen, I'll put the arguably most athletic on the field.
Most of them, right?
Well, you know, Straight Fire has become a legitimate segment because we have our very own graphic for it for the first time. Kicking things off, Matty D.
Yeah, I'm all over this. Look at this. Ontario U18 final. Guelph Junior Griffins QB Johnny Spoltor lays it out just on the fingertips. And it's a super touchdown catch. And too bad they didn't have more of this. They go on to lose this football game, but a spectacular straight fire. Let's go to Manitoba football on opening weekend. The Cruncher Sunrise Coyotes against Eastman. The Eastman running back looks like he's about to have a touchdown, but look at the superhero. He's got a cape on. Zach Natcher. He catches and sees the touchdown. Straight fire.
I think at the end of the year, we're going to have something called the Straight Fire Play of the Year. And this is going to be it right there. Trent Dobson from the Niagara Natural Flag Football Ontario Championship. Straight fire.
What about this? This is this kid's first game. It's Nicholas Jones, U16 minor football in Manitoba. He takes the kickoff, 90 yards for the touchdown. His team, the Falcons, by the way, they did great. Look at the parents. Look at the parents. They're losing it. That is straight fire. I didn't see that. I didn't see your play before. That was incredible. You know, we're going to do a championship for Straight Fire. And by the way, make sure you send your plays to jamie.rydle@bellmedia.ca. We want to see them all. We're even going to do a playoff at the end, and we'll probably have a prize. We just don't know it yet. You know what? It is a great night in the nation's capital tonight. They are recognizing the RedBlacks all-decade team. Some guys who are still playing on this team, as we mentioned, it was Cleon Lang, Lorenzo Malden on it as well. And, of course, this offense, we've seen a ton of these guys. Greg Ellingson, Brad Sinopoli, Deontay Spencer, Weepo, our friend Henry Burris. But you want to give a little love to Javon Johnson on the D-Mills.
Yes, without a doubt. Why is Henry Burris on there? He didn't do anything. Wow. We'll talk about that later.
Sorry, Hank.
But I want to give some love to Javon Johnson. Javon Johnson is the only defensive back who's been voted defensive MVP. That man was special, and he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame one day. Special player.
Antoine Pruneau, free safety for them, just absolutely dialed it in, did everything. Special teams, huge plays on the back end. I can't even believe we skipped right over Sir Vincent Rogers. Can you?
No.
I can't believe
that. No, we
that.
should have gone back to that.
Yeah, but hey, these guys cause a lot of pain. Avery Williams, one of my favorite from Temple. He just dominated in the middle for many years. Cleon Lang still with the football team. I think he's getting better with age. Yes, and these guys, Richie Leone and Lewis Ward, top of the pile as far as I'm concerned. When it comes
all of those great names, they made a lot of plays, and you always saw their names in the front of the newspaper. But Patrick Lavoie, fullback, he was the brains behind a lot of the operations that was happening the last decade in Ottawa. And I'm so glad to see his name out there, because when they got the time to get on the field, he was like a coach on the football field. And so, Pat Lavoie, I see you, my man.
Kate brought this up. That receiving core is special.
It is.
You got Ellingson, Sinopoli, Williams, Deontay Spencer, Ernest Jackson. All of those guys can make some plays, so that's a special receiving core.
I'm getting a phone call from Henry Burris.
Right now.
I'm just kidding. Hank's not phoning me. But if he heard that comment, he would.
That's my man. Henry, you know how we do.
Ernest Jackson, I don't think missed a pass that
Will it be?
Hopkins.
You know what a great night in Ottawa. And these guys are having a time. Every shot we've seen of these guys, they are partying in Ottawa. We'll get you back to TV Plays right after this.
John, God, I can still remember cracking that beer.
Back in Ottawa, I'll look at the halftime stats with BC leading by 5.
Yeah, both teams' quarterbacks basically on pace for over 300-yard passing game, and I'm sure both would like to eliminate the turnovers.
The RedBlacks getting their touchdown. Drew Brown to Jalen Acklin, who's standing by now with Claire.
Jalen, you put 6 on the board when you got that touchdown. Just how close was that pass there from Drew Brown?
No, it was close. I thought the linebacker was going to get to it, but Drew made a perfectly placed ball, and it was a pretty easy touchdown for us.
Now, you guys are perfect at home. You're down by 5. How do you tighten things up in the second half?
Yeah, we just got to cut down the turnovers, execute, and see where the game takes us. But we got to quit hurting ourselves.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
It was the Lions' first couple of possessions taking the 10-0 lead. Ottawa's chipped away and kept it close, a 5-point game. But yeah, for Bob Dice and Rick Campbell, really, Glenn, I mean, turnovers have been a concern as well. These defenses have made some big plays.
Yeah, there was a couple of almost, too.
Yeah.
You saw 1, 2, and 1, respectively, but there was a couple almost. The Pickett almost interception. That was deep in BC's end. So I'm sure both coaches discussed that, talked about eliminating the turnovers, get back to the game plan. Both quarterbacks throwing with great accuracy, though, right now.
Drew Brown and that man Nathan Rourke, certainly better overall, definitely much better than his first game back in the CFL for so much time away last week against Winnipeg. And it'll be Ottawa and Brown getting the ball first by the looks of things, as Flintoff and the Lions do kick off at Darius Pickett, and the CFL leader in average kickoff return yardage, Devontae Dedmon, but it's Pickett with it. Darius Pickett over the 40. And Isaiah Messam taking him out, but a good return to set up Drew Brown as you take a look at what he did in the first 30 minutes.
Very nice throws for Drew Brown. That touchdown to Acklin that Claire just talked about. A couple of corner routes. Braylon Addison involved in a couple of those nice throws, and there's the touchdown. And Varga was the linebacker that Acklin talked about.
It was 11 for 18, as you saw, 170. Rock Armstead, the running back, 6 carries for only 24 yards. 4 yards a carry. Faking to him, it's knocked down at the line. It is tipped up as there was some heat coming in, some pressure. Ryder Varga and the BC Lions, and a 2nd down and 10 coming up.
Yeah, really the only mistake for Drew Brown in that first half was rolling hard to his right and throwing back against the grain. That was the interception by Rugamba, but this one just good timing off the edge. Actually, that block came right down the middle, didn't it?
It did, and Varga, we've seen lately, embracing his chance to be a starter with this Lions defense. And they bring the heat, and he gets rid of it quickly. The rookie Nick Martin is a big carry after the catch. Deontay Evans doesn't get him, and Nick Martin gets himself a touchdown. His first CFL touchdown. 64 yards for Martin, the 2nd overall pick in the 2024 CFL draft. What a moment for him.
Well, the play doesn't happen if Drew Brown doesn't get a blitz pickup from Rock Armstead, who's going to come across and pick up Varga. Varga's coming on the blitz, and he times it nicely through the A-gap, but Armstead picks that one up. He gives Drew Brown a chance to have a bit of a throwing lane, and it's the 2nd hot route off the blitz that he gets it to in Martiner, and he just does the rest by himself. All he had to do was make really one guy miss. That was the guy trying to make the tackle at the point of attack.
Tackling after the catch has been made has been a problem this season for BC's defense, and Martiner broke free there. Give him the hammer. Got his first CFL touchdown. Nick Martiner played his college ball in Auburn, before that Cincinnati and Hawaii, and drafted high, and finds the end zone here in week 12. 2-point try, and it looks like the plane was broken by running back Rock Armstead as they look to pick up 2 more points.
Take a look. Does the ball cross the plane? It'll be automatically reviewed by the command center that I'm sure are doing that right now. And there he reaches across. How about that from Armstead? 2 guys bringing him to the ground, and he stretches that left arm out.
just to be sure. Off the Martner touchdown, second time this game, RedBlacks have gone for 2, and this time they do get it.
2 in cuts on the hot routes. So 2 on the touchdown throw from Drew Brown. He has 2 options here. He has that inside option or the second option in Martner. Now that's the guy he had to beat. I believe it was Seontae Evans. Once he got behind him, then it was a race. Evans can't catch him, and he's gone. House call 84.
And with that, the RedBlacks have taken the 3-point lead, their first lead of this game, and it comes in their opening possession of the second half. Drew Brown, 12 of 20 for 234 and 2 touchdown passes, 1 to Ackland and 1 to the rookie Martner. Terry Williams takes a couple of hits as he's pushed out very aggressively by the rookie Dawson Pierre.
Yeah.
At a Concordia.
Good special teams work there. A little physicality right at the in front of the Ottawa bench. That's even more fun when you're on the cover team and you're trying to work your way into the starting lineup, offense or defensive. You got to make plays like this, and that's a nice hit. He throws Williams out of bounds, and it's right in front of all of his teammates. They get a great look at it. Boom, right there.
One unit fires up another. Dawson Pierre, rookie out of Concordia, making his mark. BC 39 now. Nathan Rourke, first down. He loses the ball. He's hit just as he was trying to get rid of it. Kenny Onyeka comes up with it. Got another turnover. Ottawa football as they got pressure on Nathan Rourke. Damon Webb coming in, and before he could even look to throw, that thing came out. It's Ottawa football.
Yeah, it looked like the play was designed to go hot. Basically, the fake up the middle, the play action fake. Webb off the edge didn't give him time to reset. It looked like that was to Justin McInnis. Onyeka took a step like he was going to cover Justin McInnis. That made Nathan Rourke pull the ball down again, or at least get in the throwing lane, and then Webb catches him from behind. Now they're going to review it whether he was moving forward or not. Every turnover is reviewed.
But it is confirmed as a fumble.
Okay.
BC defense on, Ottawa RedBlack offense on. Just moments after they picked up a touchdown on Brown to Nick Martner. In fact, they start at the 35 of the Lions, faking the handoff, throwing it off complete to Hardy. Inside the 30, is it down to the 28? The second and short coming up here for the RedBlacks, who have their first lead in this game, 20-17.
Chance to add to it, and boy, do they have momentum on their side right now. Start this second half. I mean, you put a great drive together, nice throw for the touchdown, throw and run, I should say, for the touchdown, and now a chance to add to that score.
Mark it at the 29 and 2nd and 4, Ottawa. With time, Brown crossing route, Ackland, lots of space ahead. He can walk into the end zone. Jalen Ackland has his second touchdown of the night, making it look easy in a 29-yard catch and run. And with a span of just a few plays, the RedBlacks have found the end zone twice, and they're opening up their lead on BC.
And they're taking advantage of sudden change. And sudden change is when your defense gets a turnover and your offense steps on the field and makes the opposition pay for that turnover. That's twice it's happened in the game. Nathan Rourke with a turnover, and Drew Brown puts it in the end zone.
Huge momentum swing for the home side. The Ottawa RedBlacks looking to stay unbeaten at home this season.
BC is challenging for offensive pass interference. We'll review the play.
As you heard, there was a challenge announced by the referee, Tom Valese. Challenged by Rick Campbell, thinking there was offensive pass interference by the RedBlacks. Looking at Ackland coming across. Was there OPI there? They'll have a look at it. Command center going to work now here in Ottawa.
Here's Ackland on the crosser from the other side. Watch Nick Marner. 84. Yeah, you can't do that.
After review by the command center, we have offensive pass interference. Ottawa number 84. The 10-yard penalty, second down repeated.
Excellent challenge by Rick Campbell. Command center calls it, and fans may not like it, but Marner, who had scored the touchdown earlier, commits the foul there to deny the touchdown by Jalen Ackland.
Yeah, I think some of the fans were looking at Ackland the whole way and saying he didn't touch anybody. But it was clearly a pick.
When you see how open he was on that crossing route. So 2nd and 14 with the penalty. Still 20-17, dumping it off now. Right, well, Armstead hit behind. Sione Tehema's coming up and knocks him down at the 30. The third down is coming up now for the RedBlacks, and still a chance to put more points on the board.
That's really the reason for challenges. I mean, that was an outstanding challenge by Rick Campbell to see that away from the ball carrier, or his spotters anyway seeing it. Marner went out of his way. He took 2-3 steps inside to cut off Gary Peters. Rick Campbell saw that, or one of his spotters did. Excellent challenge, and saves him 4 points here.
Lewis Ward 2 for 2. Coming up from the 36 up the right upright for Ward. Terry Williams running around with it now, and thought about taking it up, but instead he goes down. So just 1 point on the board for the RedBlacks on the first miss of the night for Lewis Ward. To his right, he's doink off the upright.
6 points difference
with that challenge. You can't honor the all-decade team of the Ottawa RedBlacks without looking back to the 2016 Grey Cup. Henry Burris in overtime to Ernest Jackson for the winning touchdown, the high point in the 10-year history of this Ottawa CFL team. A couple of special guests now as they honor the all-decade team, joining Claire Hanna now.
Thank you very much, Rod. Yeah, and Ernest, we just saw your touchdown to win the Grey Cup, and I'm curious, it looks like you bobbled it a couple of times. What was going through your mind when you scored that touchdown?
Well, honestly, I just seen it was open. It was like one of the plays we call all the time, and then I got too excited, and I had to bobble it, and I finally got in touch with the ball, but, I finished strong with it. At the end of the day, that's all that really matters.
Yeah, finished strong, made history. Now, Brad, we see you around TD Place all the time. What's it been like for you just to be back with some of these greats in RedBlacks history?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. You share a lot of great memories that are lifetime memories for you, and you go through a lot of stuff, winning the Grey Cup, the ups and downs. I think just all of us coming together and establishing the team and all that stuff. So those bonds are there for life, and we don't get to see each other a lot. We're all around North America, so it's great to come back and be back with everyone.
Well, thanks for a couple of minutes, and you guys enjoy the evening.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Oh, two of the great receivers the RedBlacks had that year alone in 15, and then when they won it in 16.
No question. I mean, there's some good hands down there, and they look good.
They do.
Both those guys look like they could suit up.
They do indeed. Brad Sinopoli, what a career he had with Ottawa and Calgary before that, too. By the way, note the score. It is still 20-17. I mean, Terry Williams was running around in the end zone, but that was a dead ball.
Yeah.
With it hitting the upright. There's no point awarded. So your point about the challenge by Rick Campbell.
It's a 7-point difference.
Instead of the Ottawa touchdown, they come up with nothing, and not a single point even on that miss by Lewis Ward because it hit the upright. So good break for the Lions, and here's Ward. Mentioned still has that record for consecutive field goals made. Sean White's coming to an end earlier tonight. Ward back in 18 and 19 for 69. Let's stand back on the screen, and taken down right away, Lorenzo Malden. Another good defensive play by Malden, who stops Stanback in his tracks.
Someone's got to turn you back inside. On these plays, if the Ottawa RedBlacks allow Stanback to get outside here, he's got some running room, but someone's got to turn him back in, and that someone is Damon Webb. Just flashing out in front of him on the outside shoulder, force Stanback to go back in the middle, and that's where all the red jerseys are.
From the BC 45, a second down for Nathan Rourke. Three-man rush, and tries to get it to Stanback, and it's a little bit in behind him, so a third down is coming up as that drive is snuffed out for BC. Devontae Dedmon back to receive this punt by Stephen Flintoff. This game settling down. Ottawa with the big plays of the half so far, and now that 3-point lead. Heads out of bounds. And Ottawa football. A gorgeous night as it turns out here in the nation's capital by the Rideau Canal, TD Place in Ottawa. Place in Ottawa, another close game in the CFL. We've seen a whole bunch of those, and the RedBlacks have certainly seen their fair share. It came down to a field goal by Lewis Ward right at the end of the game in Calgary to come up with the win there. They have not lost at home so far this season. They have 4 wins and a tie, and they're leading now by 3. Third quarter, Drew Brown throwing to the left and going up for it. Nicely is Justin Hardy. He's got the catch up at the Ottawa 50.
Three receivers to that side. They're going to find a soft spot. Got to push a couple of guys deep. That's the job of this guy out up top. And then just sit down right in that hole. 4 defenders, but they're not close enough to make a play.
It's a gain of 19 yards as Hardy has his 6th catch of the night, the leading receiver for Ottawa. Up to the 51 they mark it, and a 1st and 10 now. And it's handed off. Brock Armstead up the middle. And Ace Ely getting the start in at middle linebackers, making that tackle along with Marcus Moore. For a few yards, Moore picked up there by Brock Armstead.
Really no ill effects for Drew Brown. It just looks like he's picked up where he left off. We mentioned the last game he played top to bottom was against Calgary. He threw for over 300 yards and did not throw an interception. Tommy Condell looks like he's got him making those real confident intermediate throws around 15 to 20 yards. He's real good at those in the middle.
2nd and 6 now. Around midfield, and coverage is there by Gary Peters, and Jalen Ackland thinks that coverage was a little too close. Wants a flag. He doesn't get one though, and it's 3rd down coming up.
You know, the problem here for Bob Dice, I think, in trying to figure out if he should challenge is he is behind. He's seeing what you saw on that camera angle. He's behind the pitcher, so it's tough for him to see, but clearly the right arm looked like it was there early from Gary Peters. And do we see a challenge?
Ottawa is challenging that there's defensive pass interference on the play. We'll review the play.
We saw earlier in this game, Bob Dice had the challenge flag locked and loaded, did not use it that time, does use it now, saying that Gary Peters interfered with Jalen Ackland. Now, we've talked about it in the last couple of weeks, how the command center has decided to be a lot more vigilant about overturning calls. Was that one blatant enough to overturn? Find out when we come back here. CFL on TSN on a Saturday night in Ottawa.
Going to give you a good look at Gary Peters. Look at the right arm of both receiver and DB. I believe that was enough.
Here's the ruling from the command center.
After review by the command center, we have pass interference. BC number 1, 10-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
So this drive, if it does end up in points and you're closing in on field goal range now, a good challenge by Bob Dice. So both coaches who have worked together in the past, great respect for each other, mutual respect there for sure. Good challenges by both.
Let's see where this ends up for the RedBlacks. It prevented a touchdown scored against BC, and the Campbell challenge, and off the fake handoff, it's off to Justin Hardy, who breaks through and gets down to the 30, and another 1st down for the RedBlacks.
How about how good of the fake that was to Armstead? First of all, it draws defense right to him. In fact, Armstead gets tackled, doesn't have the ball in his hands, and then Hardy gets it out there, and now he's got to play off the blocks. He's got a nice block there by Addison on the kick out. That gives him an extra 7 or 8. Well executed offensive play.
Down to the 30 it goes for Ottawa. With a 3-point lead still, had a chance for more, but negated on that offensive pass interference call we talked about. This is Brown. And off to the right for Armstead. It's back and more, and down to pushes him out, but Rock Armstead with lots of yardage after the catch got it, but a flag does come out. But he got a lot after he caught the ball around the line of scrimmage.
This is what we talked about in the first quarter, that the defensive coordinator for BC, Ryan Phillips, has been trying to work on with his group, is to be better tacklers. I mean, this is what he's talking about. That was a clear shot by Patrice Rene to get Armstead on the ground with a minimal game.
After the play, we have a 10-yard objectionable conduct penalty on the Ottawa bench. It'll be a first down.
So bench penalty, little discussion there. Bob Dice, as that pushes them back. They're back to the 26 of BC now after that 10-yard penalty. It is a 1st and 10. Ottawa still pressing a little further back with the penalty, but still in scoring range. And quickly it is out to Armstead. Takes that and gets down to the 20, so picks up about 6 yards. Patrice Rene pushing him out of bounds.
Yeah, but I would suggest that Patrice Rene sort of broke a fundamental in that tackle as well, because he just let his legs stop. And yeah, Armstead ran out of room, so he ran out of bounds after the hit. But this is Rene in the first one. He did the same thing. He went to hit him, and he had more room on the sideline, so he fell off. And you see how the legs just go away, and he sort of almost just end up diving for him. You got to keep those legs underneath you.
So they mark it at the 22. It's a 2nd and 6. Brown is throwing. It's caught. 5. Touchdown. Again. He's got his first 2 career CFL touchdowns. Nick Mardner with the catch. What a half he's suddenly having. 22 yards, and the RedBlacks increase their lead.
And Drew Brown's on a record pace for passing yards in a single game. I mean, he's over 300 now with this throw. What a great challenge by Bob Dice to keep this drive alive, because it ends in a major. No flags on the field. Mardner with his second.
Nick Mardner. And there is now a flag out late again. Mardner, who his first touchdown to the opening drive of the second half of the RedBlacks, was flagged for offensive pass interference on what looked like a Jalen Ackland touchdown, and then Mardner, the 2nd overall pick in 2024, gets himself another major score.
10-yard misconduct penalty, Ottawa number 64. That penalty will be applied on the kickoff.
I'll tell you, it's mostly good news for the RedBlacks, but discipline's a bit of a problem lately.
Well, and Bob Dice, I've been watching him on the sideline. He's been up and down reminding everybody to stop talking, stop worrying about things you can't control, and just focus in on your assignments. And that includes some of the coaches that are down there.
It's the 2nd misconduct foul that the RedBlacks have taken, and they also took that bench penalty just a moment ago. Nick Mardner, though, first CFL season, most recently coming out of Auburn, and he's got another touchdown.
He's out there with Rhymes and Braylon Addison, and they're working in, you know, that trips to the field. That's the little curl, but if he keeps coming back like that, he keeps separating from Manny Ricumba. So if he stops and catches it here, Ricumba can react and maybe make the tackle there. But Mardner comes back another 2 steps, makes the catch, and then can spin without getting tackled. He's got inside leverage, and away he goes. 2nd touchdown for him, and time for a little touchdown dance. Now, I'm not sure what Dino Boyd said after that, but that part they can cut out.
Yeah, it was Boyd, 64, left tackle, who got the misconduct penalty. Ryan Phillips exasperated there on that Ottawa touchdown, as Lions, who led much of the way, have fallen into a deeper hole now. And Mardner celebrates, capping off 7 plays, 78 yards, just over 3 minutes. And as you talked about, very profitable challenges by both coaches. In Rick Campbell's case, negating points on the board, and in Bob Dice's case, leads to a touchdown now. And a 27-17 lead. It's a 10-point RedBlack lead. The Lions had scored the first 10 points of this game. On the kickoff, taken at the 25. Terry Williams finds some room, spins around, and he is suddenly stalled out right around just across the 45 for BC. That comes Nathan Rourke. His numbers 13 of 20, 145 yards, no touchdown passes, and one intercepted. Nearly a second one was picked off in the first half as well.
Well, in the first quarter, he was completing 90% of his throws. He was 9 of 10. That's dropped now down to 65 as the Ottawa defense makes some adjustments, plays physical up front without sending real exotic blitzes. They're making him uncomfortable in the pocket.
So just 4 of 10 for Rourke since that first quarter. And handing off. Williams Stanback. It's generally a tough team to run against, that Ottawa front. Cleon Lang just standing him up, but Stanback does really picks up a couple of yards to get up near the 50. Still a second and long facing Rourke and the BC Lions.
Yeah, that run defense you mentioned in the last 4 games are averaging 51 yards a game. That's great run defense. And if you can do that, you're pushing the opposition offense and Jordan Maximic's group into second and long over and over again.
So up to the 50 now. Nathan Rourke still no yardage passing in this second half. So try again, or he can get it off. He's under the heat, and he does, and he completes it. First completion. Now first yardage through the air. Aiden Eberhardt gets that one from Nathan Rourke, and was quite a difference. 11 yards there. Before that play, Drew Brown 154 through the air in the second half, and Rourke had 0.
You know, this pressure, this very similar pressure in this second half has caused some problems, and it looked like it was going to again, but Rourke kept his eyes downfield and got it done. Got a new set.
Eberhardt with 4 catches, 54 yards, and a big one there. A first down, trying to stem the tide here. The momentum swing Ottawa's way. They're down 10 points. Off to the right, complete again. Javon Catoy. And he's a tough guy to bring down. 3-4 RedBlacks take their shot at Big 86, and they finally do limit him to a 4-yard gain.
Yeah, when they were really clicking offensively, Javon Catoy was contributing in a lot of different ways. One of his best games, over 70 yards or almost 70 yards receiving, was way back against Edmonton. But then he was nicked and hurt, just sort of settling in again since his injury. Played a couple of games. Sorry, Rod.
I was going to say, once again in second and long suits, 2nd and 7 after just 3 yards. Catoy really had to work for that. So Rourke again throwing, and it's off the fingertips. It falls incomplete. That too was intended for Catoy, but it is an incomplete pass, and a 3rd down and long is coming up now for BC.
Well, Nathan Rourke just looked at Rick Campbell, and Campbell said, stay out there. Probably a little bit of a breeze in the face of the BC Lions offense. Is it too far for Sean White? Doesn't want to risk that, so he's, rather than punt and play for field position, is going to go for it here on 3rd down.
Well, this is big for the RedBlacks defense too, to keep this momentum going for Ottawa, trying to force a turnover across the 45. Here's Rourke, 3rd down and long, and it is caught down at the 40. It's a first down. Wow. They barely got enough. That's Eberhardt with a big catch again for BC to get that first down.
Aiden Eberhardt comes up with a big one here, and he has to go up and get it first of all, because again the pressure was getting to Nathan Rourke. Look at that extension to go bring it down, but he has to put his foot down and roll forward because he wasn't quite there yet. And he wasn't touched down until looked like Bennett Williams was the guy who actually touched him down by contact. They're going to measure this. That's how close it is.
How important is that little roll then?
Exactly.
If we could be talking an inch or two, as you say. This is inside the 40, but very close. The sticks come out, and
got it.
What a difference. Yeah. That little bit from Eberhardt at the end.
Well, Rod, this is where we always hear the cliche. It's a game of inches.
It certainly is that time.
The inches you need are everywhere around you. That was any given Sunday, if you're wondering. But yeah, I mean,
Get your movie
so there's the touchdown but you see he's touchdown by contact there, but he had rolled a yard to get there, and that was the yard he needed.
And a nice catch too before then, but coming down where he initially did would not have been enough. That extra little roll. First down. Drive continues. Rourke rolling to the right, and another one complete. Alexander Hollins, who's one of the top receivers in the CFL, came into the night third. Justin McInnis leading the way, but a quieter night, but a big catch there, a pickup of 19.
First 5 games for Hollins, 573 yards receiving. His last 5, that production has dropped to just under 200, more than half. Trying to get in sync with the new quarterback.
Just his second catch, now for 18 yards. There's Katoy again, inside the 10. He takes some hits. Ball comes out. Was he down? Ottawa football, if he was still up, because he was fighting for more yardage. But again, we asked that question. Was Javon Katoy down? Going to have another look at this.
Was he down, and was he down on the turf and not on a defender? That's the question. Because if he's not down and touching the turf, it's still alive, and that ball can come out. Let's take a look. Katoy.
Ruling on the field is the player was down with contact.
Okay, so he's down by contact. Let's see. For Ottawa fans, we'll see if they got this right. He's got possession now. Okay, there he's down. He's down, and the ball is still in his hands. And when he hits the ground with his shoulder pads, that's when the ball popped out.
We saw that a couple of nights ago in Toronto. Once that elbow is down, he's down. William Stanback, as they get closer for a touchdown to cut into that red-black 10-point lead. Stanback down to the 2.
Well, I would go back and say, because you don't, you never want to second guess coach's decision, but that third down play,
wow,
I probably wouldn't have done that, but it worked.
Here we go, stand back, 3, 2, 1. The pushback right at the goal line.
Oh boy.
And no signal of a touchdown. Not break the plane. And we got to
say third down.
Third down and goal coming up here.
It'll be reviewed automatically. Did the ball cross the plane? And you've got to be able to actually see it. And there's, no shot.
No shot. It'll be at the 1. Third down at the 1. Third and goal. What a huge moment again in this game. David Mackey, touchdown.
Yep, they called it.
Mackey got it. Waiting for that signal. Rick Campbell signals. Just kick the 1, get it within a field goal. But Mackey again in short yardage with his 5th touchdown of the season.
And the reaction from Nathan Rourke, who lines up as a wide receiver, is just, he wants this badly. I mean, that roll again from David Mackey gets him in the end zone, because I don't think initially he was. When he dives here, he's not in yet, and then he rolls over, and right there the ball crosses the plane. You could see just the top of the football there, but Nathan Rourke, who lined up at wide receiver, ran all the way in there with his hands in the air trying to convince the officials that his teammate had crossed the plane.
What a possession, and a risky one along the way for the Lions. Those third down moments. Sean White the point after. 10 plays, 63 yards in just under 5 minutes, and Rourke and the Lions come back and make it a 3-point game after Ottawa was really taking charge in this second half.
Well, that third down gamble again, you go back, and with we're still in the third quarter. Like if it's 5-6 minutes, it's no brainer. You gotta go ahead and go on third down. But when Rick Campbell makes that decision and Eberhardt makes an incredible play to make it happen, wow, it's just like Coach Rod, what would you have done in that situation? Probably punted.
Probably would have, yeah. I'm a conservative guy. Well, actually, but you know what? I laughed early when you said third quarter, because with all the plays we've seen so far and all the stress level in both of these teams, just seems like we're further along in the game.
Well, one more time. Let's show you. This is third down, and Eberhardt makes the catch but rolls the extra yard he needs. I mean, without that roll, if he's down by contact there, it's over.
That's the difference.
That drive ends right there. He got it by about 3 inches, and that kept the drive alive, and now we've got a 3-point game.
And we're not even through 3 quarters. And to you, I know, this doesn't even get started and we're down to the last 3 minutes, but it's been a lot of interesting moments in this game. Darius Pickett is on the return, and he gets it up across the 40. So over to you, Drew Brown, and RedBlacks offense now as he's coming on. And has had an excellent second half, but that momentum swinging back BC's way after that long drive.
Well, you can see why when the media asked Bob Dice after the great game by Jeremiah Masoli in Calgary and that win, you can see why when he was asked, well, what does this do to the quarterback situation for the BC game? And without hesitation, Coach Dice said, oh, no, Drew Brown's our #1 quarterback.
No hesitation.
No hesitation at all. And we love our quarterback room. We're happy for Masoli, no question. But you can see he's over 300 with a quarter to play.
154 in the third quarter alone.
Yeah.
And that third quarter is coming to an end.
He's slinging it right now.
Not even add to the total. No, he hands off Armstead. And Ryder Varga, starting weak side linebacker, coming in and taking him down for no gain. A second and long coming up for the RedBlacks. But a good third quarter they had. A couple of touchdowns to Nick Martiner. A couple of big challenges by the coaches as well. But back comes Nathan Rourke and BC. We got a 3-point ball game. Ottawa in front. The Lions looking to end their 4-game losing streak tonight. Back at TD Place in Ottawa, the RedBlacks lead the BC Lions by 3 suits, but we've seen some big momentum swings in that third quarter alone.
Yeah, we have, and over 300 yards passing already for Drew Brown. That was a huge drive for Nathan Rourke and the Lions offense. Gutsy calls, and as you mentioned, 2 massive challenge wins by both coaches.
Yeah, one of them by Rick Campbell, took a touchdown off the board for Ottawa. The other one, the RedBlacks ended up cashing in. And Nick Martiner, how about the rookie with a couple of TDs? A night for him to remember so far in his young CFL career. So it's interesting, and football is a family affair. We've heard that before, but especially for Bob Dice. Let's go back to Claire Hanna.
Yeah, well, Rod, when you look at the field tonight and the coaches, it's a pretty dicey situation, and that's because Bob Dice, the head coach of the RedBlacks, is coaching against his son, Tristan Dice, who's been with the BC Lions for the past 4 years. And Bob said before Tristan got into coaching, he'd send him like 3-word texts when he texted him. But since he got into the coaching world, they've really bonded. They have 2-hour conversations on the phone each week now. But for the family, this puts them into a tough situation. Who do they cheer for? You see, there's Amanda, mom, or wife, if you will. Well, everybody thinks she's going to be neutral, but when it comes to Ava and Brooklyn, Bob said, I paid for their braces, so they better be cheering for me tonight. But it is Tristan who's won 5 of the meetings, so Bob needs the support too.
Yes, Claire, and they need one of those jerseys. You know, one half is one team, one half's the other, but...
Well, yeah, and, you know, when you think about the rivalry between these two guys, and we asked Coach Campbell about it because they've worked together, and as I mentioned, great mutual respect. That's an unreal catch. Did he catch it? It's hard. He got his hands underneath. They ruled that a catch. But Rick Campbell hasn't lost against his own team, his old team.
He hasn't lost, and Tristan hasn't lost to Bob.
Yeah.
Since going to the line. I think Bob said it's a 5-game winning streak or something for Tristan Dice over his dad. But always a special moment. I mean, you know, obviously with the exception of what goes on in this game, but for the Dice family and the mixed feelings, I'm sure. With, Tristan on one side and Bob on the other again, and 2nd and 2 after that hardy catch for Drew Brown. Great third quarter, handing off Rock Armstead. Well, he gets maybe a couple of yards. Once again, right in there is Ryder Varga and Ace Ely as well.
Ace Ely and Varga, they meet right in the hole. Ryder Varga's got a couple starts, and Bolacombo is on the roster. He's dressed, and Bolacombo played that spot earlier in the year. But Varga, as you mentioned earlier in the show, he's earned the right to get some starts. It was Ely who initiated the hit, and then Varga finished him off. But Varga's made some plays tonight too.
He has, embracing the chance, and Ely too, with the injury to Ben Halata coming in and take him down. It's a 3rd and short coming up here. Dustin Crum, short yardage quarterback, coming in for Ottawa. As you see Ryan Phillips
Vladeck was close. Apparently something happened in warm-up that just was uncomfortable. It was a game day, or down to the couple of hours before the game decision.
We have an injured Lions player getting some attention now. That is Marcus Moore, defensive tackle. They work on the right knee area. We'll take a break. TD Place in a close one here, fourth quarter. Even without Marcus Moore, who's hurt, the Lions beef up front on this third down and short. Dustin Crum, short yardage QB in, keeping it, pushing ahead, and looks like he does have it. In the Lions zone and pushing down towards the 45 and a 3-point Ottawa lead.
And a first down away from turning a 3-point lead into at least a 6-point lead. So the next two plays in this drive, very important for both the Lions defense and Ottawa offense here to points on the line in the next 10 yards.
Drew Brown 20 for 28 now for 336 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 intercepted. And the BC 46. 12.5 minutes in the fourth. Throwing, it's caught, it's inside the 42 for Jalen Ackland. He has a touchdown on this night.
That's a receiver in Ackland that's going to go back to Drew Brown and say thank you very much for that. And I'll tell you why. This is a slant route going right to Ryder Varga. Varga's coming. And he throws it low so he can protect himself.
And once again, this time Brown stays in short yardage and they try to pull him back. This was in a second down play and they needed about 2 feet. So they didn't bother rotating Crum in for that short yardage play. It is enough for a first down. Sticks move. Ottawa RedBlacks.
So now you're in field goal range. So that also is part of the strategy here. Turn it. It's still just one possession if you kick a field goal, but you're obviously the major is the first priority. But this is where any kind of mistake offensively is compounded because you're in scoring zone.
Boy, Bob Dice has had a lot of nail biters this year. Had a lot last year and ended up losing most of them. It's been the opposite story this time around. They've been on the winning side in those close games. And flags out. It's whistled down with a snap of the football.
2 seconds left on the clock. I'm not sure. Illegal formation, maybe?
Procedure. Ottawa number 64. 5-yard penalty.
Okay.
Remains first down.
Every time.
So the procedure call to push the RedBlacks back. Just outside the BC 40. Jacob Ruby doesn't like it.
Well, that's what I mean about. I don't think it was Ruby that got it.
64, I thought he said, which would be
64.
Dino Boyd, the left tackle.
Yeah.
And Eric Starsala in at center, replacing Cyril Hogan-Sandon. That was last week in the game in Calgary. And the BC 41, 1st and 15. Armstead has it, tries to break a tackle, and the middle linebacker Ace Ely having a good night. He hangs on to him.
Check down, and Armstead turns the corner, and here comes 41. We'll wrap up. Make sure you don't allow the tailback to step out of that tackle.
In his first year at a Georgia Tech, Ayinda Ely. Call him ace. BC 35, 2nd and 9. Brown, pump fake, flushed out. Christian Covington is chasing him. Brown gets rid of it, coming back to the football. Just inside the 25 is Justin Hardy, and another first down for the Ottawa RedBlacks.
Well, I like how Drew Brown escaped here. He instead of just when he sees there's Hardy, he's going to be the target that's going to come all the way back to the football. We take a look at him first. This is a scramble rule, so he's got the deep corner route. So when he sees his quarterback scramble, he's got to come back down towards the line of scrimmage to give him a target. But the way that Drew Brown escapes, he escapes deeper than just kicking off and running to his right. Look at him get some ground, get some more time so he can get his shoulder around and deliver a strike.
Up now to Hardy again. Short pass. Good run afterwards. They try to get him down. Bunch them, but not before another first down for the RedBlacks. Getting closer and closer now to the Lions end zone. A pickup of 12 more yards for Hardy, most of it after the catch.
Hardy gets a block that springs him initially. Might have been Dom Rogers.
Another first, though, down to the BC 13-yard line. 27-24. The Lions were down 10. The end of the third quarter, and a long drive to cut it down to 3. But here comes Ottawa again. Scoring range, 13-yard line. And touchdown! Jalen Acklin. They're saying he didn't survive the contact. He's still down on the field after landing hard, catching the football.
Yeah, this one is not pretty. He goes up to get this. It's a high throw. He's got to go high to get it, and then let's see who the defender was. TJ Lee that just went through on the tackle. This is the one where you just hope that the neck doesn't get too much of it. Looks like it landed right on his shoulder blade, but then as he flipped over.
Awful sight to see Jalen Acklin still down on the field. We'll be back in a moment at TD Place in Ottawa. And back in Ottawa, Jalen Acklin remains down after going up for a catch, coming down very hard on his back and his shoulder. And again, we've seen the scenario a few times in recent weeks, and players taking a knee with an ambulance out in the field. And we welcome viewers on TSN 5 now, as mentioning again Ottawa receiver Jalen Acklin, and more stunned silence here at TD Place in Ottawa.
Yeah, no one feels worse right now than TJ Lee. And you know, when he went to make that tackle or that hit to try and break up the play, you know, Acklin went up for that ball, and it just, unfortunately, I've been watching TJ Lee down here. He's a veteran who, of course, hopes more than anybody that Acklin's okay. But you know, it was just a straight unlucky football play. And, you know, and I know that you've done a couple of the games where there's been guys that they're looking at like this, and you mentioned, and I thought it was very important to mention that they're being very cautious.
Yes.
Is what they do. You know, so, you know, I did see right after the play, Acklin kind of looked to see where the ball was, or looked to see what was going on, and then he kind of went down. So, you know, they're going to be very, very cautious, make sure they do the full examination before they even move him.
Last week in Hamilton, and what you're referring to, Luther Hakunavanu,
yeah, exactly,
of the Ticats in a game against Edmonton, right at the beginning of the game, was hit, landed very awkwardly on that play, and it was a similar scene where it's a very quiet stadium and a lot of concerned people on both sides, of course, on both sides, everyone involved with the game. Just silence now and hoping for the best for Jalen Acklin. And even the moment last night of concern, definite concern in Winnipeg too, was Stanley Bryant.
Yeah.
Early on in the game, when he was taken off in a stretcher, in a cart, and in this case a stretcher out, the ambulance out. But fortunately, in the case of Luther Hakunavanu, was released from hospital later that night last week and said he was okay. But
yeah, TJ Lee didn't really even go low on the hit. He just was running to try and get to the football through Acklin, and you know he feels bad. And but you're right. I mean, both teams. This is where the line is, that you're out here making a living and you understand the risk, but you never want to see it. And let's hope that this is precautionary and after a full examination at the hospital that Ackland will be okay.
It's been said before, and unfortunately been said a lot by us lately. You feel obviously most for the player, but you feel for their families
Oh
too.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
And just how difficult that is, on teammates, opposing players alike, that they're still, and as I say, I hate to repeat a narrative that we've said a few times over the past week, but first and foremost, it's about him, and at some point, players are expected to go and play again and finish a game.
Well, they're going to stabilize him, and they're going to, looks like I could see that he was moving his hands and his arms, which is a very good sign, obviously. So we'll, I don't want to speculate or anything, but again, precautionary to make sure they completely stabilize him before they move him at all. And this is both teams' concern is there, and
being very careful, the medical staff out working on stabilizing Jalen Ackland. As fans, as we all look on in concern. We'll be back in a moment. We're back at TD Place in Ottawa. The game not being played right now, understandably, as they deal with the medical concern for Ottawa receiver Jalen Ackland, who was reaching up for a touchdown pass and landed awkwardly as he was taken down in the end zone, and they brought an ambulance out and a stretcher, and as we said before, taking all precautions to make sure that he is stabilized before he is moved at all. It's been about 10 minutes now.
And it's a league rule and requirement that there is an ambulance on site in case of something like this. So when Ackland leaves, we will have to make sure that there's another ambulance and the paramedics are here just in case. And we're told that there is another one already here. So
we did see that last week in Hamilton, where they did have to wait for another one. There's Moulton Hopkins, honored earlier tonight, one of the original RedBlacks and one of the greats in the Ottawa community as a player as well. And it's really earlier a night of celebration, the all-decade team, everything else, but it is just the whole tone of the evening, again, quite understandably, is much different now. Jalen Ackland in his third season as a member of the Ottawa RedBlacks. Before that, he had been with the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Oh, and these medical staff and paramedics so good at taking care of the guys when there are issues and being there immediately, making sure he's, can't move in any way before they can, take the x-rays and take a look.
You saw Jeremiah Masoli in the bottom corner previously. They were teammates, good teammates in Hamilton and again here in Ottawa. And Jalen Ackland, among the many who could really sympathize with everything physically Jeremiah Masoli was going through. And I can only imagine what Jeremiah is thinking right now as his friend is tended to.
Certainly a favorite player for these Ottawa fans, that's for sure. I mean, a guy who a couple seasons ago 1,000 yards and was really looking like he's coming back and getting into that form again from a couple years back. Big contributions to this Ottawa offense, and a lot of Jalen Ackland jerseys sold. So again, like, we don't want to speculate, and just that they're taking every precautionary measure possible. Make sure they secure him on that gurney so he can't move in any way. And And it was a, it was an unlucky football play, and that was the guy who was on the other end. That was T.J. Lee, you just saw, who was very concerned.
And applause now ringing out throughout TD Place, and fans standing as they are ready to move Jalen Ackland into the ambulance and transfer him to hospital. With everyone's thoughts and best wishes, I'm sure. And then you got to play football again.
Well, that's what they're talking about. To keep in mind that you got to play at top speed, try and not play cautiously because of what, the last 10 minutes of watching Jalen Ackland be, strapped up and taken to the hospital. So the coaches are trying to remind the guys, get loose again, do what you have to do that. We'll give you the medical report on your teammate if it's the Ottawa RedBlacks, but I'm sure that Bob Dice would make sure Rick Campbell knows too, and he could relay any news from Jalen Ackland as they go through their examinations. But the key is in starting to play football again is in staying loose and warming up again. And as you're doing that, remind yourself over and over that you understand the risk, that it's a physical game, and you understand it, and that your best opportunity to stay away from the injuries is to play full speed. So that's what you got to try and get your mind around. It's not easy. It's way easier to say and talk about than it is to do it. But these guys are pros, and they're disciplined pros, guys that every day train their minds to be disciplined. So now is the time to do it again and say, we got to play full speed.
Well, unlike last week where players went to the dressing room in what was about a 40-minute delay, this was much less, about half of that. And so we resume. It's a 2nd and 10. What looked like a Jalen Ackland touchdown was incomplete. Ottawa football at the BC 13, leading by 3. 2nd down and 10. Drew Brown, and pressure coming in, just a bull rush straight through by Josh Banks, and a 3-man rush, and a flag coming out, a late flag coming out as Banks went right in and took Drew Brown down.
Illegal contact. BC number 33. Half the distance to the goal, but it will result in a 1st down.
So despite that play by Banks, that one is negated because of the penalty against Rugamba.
Illegal contact, 10-yard and automatic 1st down, because I don't think 10 yards would have got him there. Yeah, and grabbed his shirt.
So instead, it's a 1st and goal. It is down to the Lions' 6-yard line. 8 minutes left in the 4th quarter after a lengthy delay. Playing again, trying for the touchdown, throwing, completing, Keaton Brugling. And a rare touch for Brugling, looking for his 1st touchdown of the season. And he gets it inside the 5, down to about the 3, the product of Carleton University.
Yeah, Gary Peters closes so quickly here. This play often works. It's the inside fake on the handoff, and then get it out there to the flat and try to outflank the defense, and Gary Peters wasn't fooled.
That was the 1st catch of the season for Brugling. Gets him a bit closer, down to the 3. It's a 2nd and goal now. Ottawa pressing, leading by 3, and trying to make it a 2-possession game. Past the midway point of the 3rd, handing off, Rock Armstead. And no, Josh Banks is there, and he gets some help too. Limits the gain to maybe about a yard, and a 3rd and goal coming up.
Well, you and I were in Toronto, and Ryan Dinwiddie inside the 5-yard line went for it how many times? 4 times, I believe.
Against that Saskatchewan front, yeah.
And now they ended up winning. So gotta also mention how the story ended, but Going short yardage here.
No guarantees, to your point.
Yeah, exactly.
Certainly wasn't for the Argos the other night against the Riders. Are really stiffened up around the goal line. Dustin Crum is in. So their short yardage QB. It is 3rd and goal at the BC 1. Huge play, especially for the Lions, to keep it within 3. Crum trying it, pushing. Does he break the plane? Yes, he does. Touchdown for the RedBlacks.
Off the right side, good push. Low man wins down here. That offensive line got it done. Jacob Ruby playing for Bladek at guard, and Pelios at tackle. A little bit of fullback help. Dom Ryan's even trying to get a little bit of a piece of Azili. Don't let the linebacker get involved.
And that is the 7th touchdown for Dustin Crum this season. 7th rushing TD.
Illegal contact penalty. The difference.
Huge difference. 16 play drives. 16 over 70 yards. There was that long delay in between. And that is taking a lot off the clock, too. That was over 9 minutes off the clock. And now a 10-point lead once again for the RedBlacks, trying to remain unbeaten at home. They come into this game 4-0-1 at TD Place. That one game that didn't end up in a win was 2 weeks ago in a tie against the Rough Riders.
Yeah, they haven't lost in 5 games. Best start for an Ottawa team since 1978. When that team, and you remember that team, you grew up in this area, Rod.
That was the old Rough Riders, the Easton Rough Riders.
Yes.
For those who don't know, there used to be 2 teams in the league named Rough Riders. Ottawa's Rough Riders that year.
7-0 to start the year, and sitting at 6-2-1. It's best start since then. And back then, Tony Gabriel was still playing.
He was, and Tom Clements, Conrad Holloway, they were the quarterbacks. That was a good team. They'd won the Grey Cup in '76, but they were upset by Montreal. There's 77. That was his number. And in the 70s, Tony Gabriel, after coming over from Hamilton, was just an outstanding receiver for Ottawa. So yeah, a bit of a flashback there. And for the 10-year history of the RedBlacks, easily their best start yet at 6-2-1 coming in halfway through the season. Not over yet, though. 10-point deficit the Lions will try to erase, and starting with that, Terry Williams, the ex-Ottawa RedBlack, gets it up across the BC 40, so still plenty of time. 5:45 on the clock for Nathan Rourke coming out, and they're 10 points behind now after scoring the first 10 in this game. Nathan Rourke, his 2nd game back in the Canadian Football League. Much hype, much expectation last week at BC Place, and his first taste of real game action in a long time, and it was a struggle. He had a great start in this one, and they're in a 10-point hole now. He had time. The ball is out. They stripped it from Rourke, and this defensive onslaught by Michael Wakefield and the RedBlacks continues. Another turnover.
Just a great effort by Wakefield, who lines up as a defensive end on this rush, and he's going to come around the corner. Here he comes here, and watch how, because he's pushed wide, he has to reach with his left hand to get to the football. I think Nathan Rourke looks at this and says, I've climbed up in the pocket enough, he can't get there. But he reaches with the left hand. As Rourke steps up in the pocket here, Wakefield with the left hand reaches across, stretches, and gets it out, and his arm was not moving forward. That's a fumble.
And not only does he force the fumble, Wakefield is the one that recovers it as well, as that defense celebrates. They've made some big plays tonight. Lions turning it over again in their own zone, too. It's at the BC 34. Ottawa goes to work. A screen, and it's read nicely. Addison coughed it up. And it is Tavai, Jonah Tavai, picking it up. So one turnover deserves another, I guess, as BC takes it right back up at the Lion 45, and a reprieve coming up here for Nathan Rourke and the Lions offense.
Yeah, they get one back from their defense. This is a defensive effort. Again, the big guys up front, the defensive line's making the difference. That's Covington. I know Ottawa fans are wondering, could that have been ruled an incomplete pass to try to get to a screen?
Look in the face of Nathan Rourke says it all. The excitement to be getting back on again after he had the ball stripped away by Michael Wakefield.
With better field position.
With better, yeah. They advance it up now, as it turns out. Back-to-back fumbles, and BC gets it back up at their 45. Just under 5 minutes, 4:45 and counting. Timing getting critical. On the ground, Williams stand back. Good hole, good carry. Stand back picks up a first down, rushing right across midfield, a gain of 12.
I think Jordan Maksimic really has to do that. I mean, he's probably concerned about the time and looking at it tick down, but he's got to keep the D-line for the Ottawa RedBlacks honest.
With that, they're in tempo right now, 4:17 and counting. Throwing this time to the right for Hatcher. He's got it. Down at the 45, just shy of a first down by about a yard. Second and short coming up for BC.
Yeah, that's exactly what Maksimic is doing with the play calling. Run play, then he goes back to a quick pass, quick game. Don't let that D-line hunt.
2-possession game. BC football. First down, stand back. Another good running play as he gets it down inside the Ottawa 40. As that clock keeps ticking and they keep working tempo. They need a touchdown and a field goal at least. And not a whole lot of time to get it. 3-man rush. RedBlacks drop back to stand back. Santos knocks at him red, and he gets some help too. And a shorter gain there for stand back on that catch as he gets it down to about the 35. Baron Miles, leader of that Ottawa defense.
BC needs 2 scores now. Need the field goal and the touchdown to get back to even.
Clock keeps counting. Rourke makes sure everybody's on the same page with that play. 4 receivers to the left, looking that way, and it's caught inside the 20. And taking a hit but hanging on is Hatcher. 2:38. Clock is stopped.
Got it there just in time with this throw.
Lions are running out of time. 10 points behind, but moving it well here in Ottawa. What finish might be in store at TD Place? These two teams meet again next week in a much different setting. The first ever Touchdown Pacific in beautiful Victoria, BC. The RedBlacks and the Lions, part of the Labor Day weekend festivities. You and Dustin Nielsen are going to be there, and looking forward to that, I bet.
Yeah, isn't that a beautiful shot? I mean,
gorgeous city.
Looking forward to it. Sold out in hours.
Yeah, this is part 1 of 2 with these two teams. And pressure coming in on Rourke. He escapes that time, but he's under more heat. Nathan Rourke trying to escape. Time running out. Makes a throw into the end zone, and nobody's there. 2:25 on the clock and a second down coming up.
Darius Pickett was close on this push of Rourke, but I like that the officials are letting the guys play, and they did have Rourke on the run. You know, the question there is, can you pull up in time? It was close. I think a no flag is a good way to go there.
2nd and 10 at the Ottawa 17. BC needs a touchdown or a field goal at this stage. Needs something. The throw, it's caught in the 10, and as they get closer and closer, instead of field goal, you'd almost have to say now they need a touchdown. Javon Katoy.
No, I think you kick the field goal.
Oh, you got the 3rd down coming up.
Yeah, that's right. So 3rd down, and it's not 3rd and 1. You're talking 3rd and what, 3 or 4 here. You need 2 scores anyway. You need the field goal.
So take the field goal now.
Take the field goal, even though it'd be tempting because you're inside the 20. I know what you mean. You're looking at it going, I don't know, you're that close. Why don't you go for it? But no, I like this. Take the 3 points, make it a 1-possession game. See if your defense can get a stop.
Sean White Pumps it through. So there's 3. There's 1 score. So now 7 points down and 2:08 on the clock. And the Lions still do have a timeout. Let's get an update now from Claire Hanna.
Yeah, well, we have some news from the Ottawa RedBlacks. Jalen Acklin currently is conscious. He has movement in all of his extremities, but he has been taken to the hospital for further evaluation. But a very scary moment here at TD Place as he was down for a significant amount of time on the field, guys.
Thank you, Claire. And yes,
good news. Good.
Very good news that moving all his extremities for that. The way he landed, how troubling earlier on in this quarter, and they take every precaution, but that's great to hear that he's conscious and moving his extremities. It's 34-27. Ottawa with a 7-point lead. 2:08 on the clock. The Lions, Stefan Flintoff for the kickoff. BC does still have a timeout. So they do kick it deep. Devontae Dedmon inside the 10. Dedmon. Good return going as he gets it up near the 40. And Ottawa's offense will go to work and try to kill off the remainder of this clock if they can get any kind of drive going. A lot of pressure now on the Lions defense to stop them and get the ball back.
Someone on that cover team went down for BC. It looks like it might be Jordan Perryman. I was going to say, though, with our great returners in the Canadian Football League, it's not just the big touchdowns, and we've seen lots of those again this year, but it's the field position. I mean, Drew Brown right now, chance to go and make it a 2-possession game again, and instead of starting, back on his 20-15 yard line, Dedmon gets it up to the 40. Now he's 2 first downs away from making it a 2-possession game and locking this thing up. Even if they have to, I mean, they can possibly kill the clock with a couple of first downs. So that's almost as important, and we see it many times, and even in Toronto with that game this weekend. That punt out of the end zone by Saskatchewan, Janarian Grant gets, what was it, 12, 14 yards and field goal range. They win on the single, but it was these great returners in the league providing the extra 10 or 15 yards that makes a difference.
And the RedBlacks know this well from a different perspective, Glenn. In this case, they still have the lead. Against Hamilton, back in late June, they fell behind. They needed a good return for a chance to kick the winning field goal. It was under a minute, just seconds to go. Tobias Harris, since injured, got it up close to midfield. And Drew Brown was able to complete a couple of passes to set up Lewis Ward for the walk-off stunning field goal for the RedBlacks in their victory over the Ticats.
Equally as important, and so now does Ottawa, they want to run the ball certainly on first down and grind the clock. Again, going back to that Toronto game for a second, that when you inside of 3 minutes, an incomplete pass stops the clock and it doesn't start again until the snap of the ball. A running play and a tackle starts the clock as soon as the ball is placed down by the official and whistled in. That's a big difference because you can grind down more time offensively.
The time now, 2:01 on the clock. Ottawa football trying to protect a 34-27 lead, and they'll start right at their 40-yard line. BC's defense needing a 2-and-out. And that's a good play by the D to limit that pickup right there by Ottawa. Rock Armstead picking up a couple of yards. 1:57 on the clock.
Rick Campbell thinking about using his timeout there, I think. But a running play will start the clock. And now can take it right down to 13 seconds. Could have used and saved 20 seconds here, basically. See if the strategy works.
Huge 2nd down and 8 for BC. They drop back. Open receiver, first down. Wow. Justin Hardy has it. And And that is inside Lions territory, too, as the sticks move and only 1:34 to go.
Well, first of all, great protection for Drew Brown. And Hardy, I mean, his precision on this out route. He's going deep past the sticks by about 10 yards and then running the out. That's why TJ Lee was so high. He thought he's not going to run an out at 20 yards. He's going to, if he's going that deep, he's going on a deep route. And he broke it off, and Drew Brown with a really good protection in front of him. Just a laser out there. 100-yard game for Hardy, a quiet 100 yards.
The BC Lions started the season at 5-1. If they can't come back in this one, Armstead the ball carrier. If they can't come back,
timeout.
And now the timeout by Rick Campbell.
Yeah.
The one remaining.
Timeout, BC.
But I was going to say they would fall below 500 to 5-6. That's what's facing them, and into a tie with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who started the season at 0-4.
Yeah, did you think for a second that that was going to continue in Winnipeg?
Well, I mean, in Winnipeg's case, no. But
No.
BC.
Well, neither.
Yeah,
neither.
I mean, they wouldn't have expected that at all. That's been to see them go from 5-1 to what's looming is 5-6. With Saskatchewan at 5-5-1 after their narrow loss to the Argos. So things are very tight and continue to get that way for the West Division.
So Ryan Phillips here, I'd be surprised if he doesn't send the house here. Try and they let Drew Brown sit there in the pocket with no pressure on him. This game is over.
2nd and 7, the BC 49, and here they come. It's off to Addison. Has some space, has the first down.
Great play.
Wrestled down by Rugamba, but the damage is done for the RedBlacks. Getting another first down.
Yeah, and that should, because that's field goal range too now for Ottawa if they needed it to make it 2 possessions. And this is a great play because it beats the blitz. It gets Braylon Addison outside to outflank the defense. They were sending pressure. Ryan Phillips had to make something happen. Couldn't let Drew Brown stand back there with no pressure on him. But pawn to king 4, queen to pawn 4, and that's what this game is sometimes strategically, and that was a great play call to get Addison out in the flat.
Ticking down to about a minute. A 1st and 10-2 for the RedBlacks, in charge now and looking to improve to 7-2-1 and remain unbeaten at home. And I think 2 years ago the RedBlacks didn't win once at TD Place. Right now they're the only CFL team that has not lost a game at home, and it looks like that is going to continue for Ottawa.
Yeah, listening to the players this week and seeing them on social media and things, they're asking what's the difference between this year and last year, and they're saying they're together and finding ways to win rather than finding ways to lose. And that sounds like an obvious statement, but it's those little things like that throw to Hardy, the protection up front, the little things, taking care of the moment when you have to have the play.
You just saw the general manager, Sean Burke. Oh, breaking through, spinning around, and that'll do it as he slides down. And celebration starting. Bob Dice, the RedBlacks. Got some early good news about Jalen Acklin as well, as we heard from Claire, but this is pretty well wrapping it up now for Ottawa.
And the little things in making the play. Did you see Drew Brown's concentration on where he placed that ball? I mean, Armstead got it right where he needed it. The handoff so clean, so there was no mistake made there. And then he bounces the outside. And then the smart move to not run out of bounds, to not keep going and adding yards to it. He had the first down. He knew that meant that they can grind down the clock and win this game. It's over, and he went down. Those are the little things that make the difference between winning and losing, and the Ottawa RedBlacks are doing it right now.
Long starving fans here in recent years are up and cheering again in the victory formation for Bob Dice and the 7-2-1 Ottawa RedBlacks. Already the best start in the decade-long history of the RedBlacks, and as you mentioned, Glenn, the best start for an Ottawa CFL team since 1978. They celebrate. Still unbeaten at home, and for the BC Lions, game number 2 for Nathan Rourke in the books. BC's losing streak goes to 5. They fall to a record of 5 and 6.
Drew Brown threw for 390 yards tonight, and Nathan Rourke made some progress.
Yep.
I think he was better than week 1, but still a long way to go.
These two teams will meet again, too. They don't have to wait long. Next week, part of the Labor Day festivities in Touchdown Pacific between Nathan Rourke and the Lions, who will host the Ottawa RedBlacks next week in Victoria, BC. Don't miss tomorrow, too. Oh, the West is so tight and interesting. The Elks, I'm sure, are taking notice. They have a big one against Cody Fajardo and the Montreal Alouettes. That's coming up as week 12 continues here in the CFL on TSN. Ottawa wins again. Thanks for watching. SportsCenter's next on TSN.
Welcome to SportsCenter. He's Glenn. I'm Nikki. Let's start in the CFL. Glenn, the RedBlacks, one of the hottest teams in the league. Meanwhile, BC Lions looking to avoid a 5th straight loss, but Nathan Rourke once again under the spotlight, looking to bounce back from that lackluster return.
Yeah, he looked really rusty in his debut, back returning to the CFL. A little bit better tonight, but still not up to the standard that a lot of us are expecting from Nathan Rourke, especially after a full week of practice, you know, getting to get some chemistry with receivers and learn the offense a little bit more. The Lions come in losing 4 straight, but opening drive, Rourke to Justin McInnes, good for 12 yards. Rourke completed just 8 passes in the entire game last week. He had 9 completions in the first quarter alone against the RedBlacks. He finds McInnes again. That great leaping grab. David Mackey capped off the drive with a 1-yard score. It was 10-3 Lions after 1. Move to the second quarter. Rourke looks for Keon Hatcher this time. He gets picked off by Elijah McGee. That's Rourke's 3rd interception in his first 2 games back with the Lions. Meantime, Drew Brown back under center for Ottawa after missing 1 game with a foot injury. 4 plays after that pick, he finds Jalen Acklin for the 22-yard score. That cuts the lead to 2. But let's go back to Rourke. He threw for 145 yards in the first half, also doing it with his legs. Great run here, breaking tackles along the sideline, picks up 51 yards. Career-long run for him. That led to a field goal. The Lions up 17-12 at the break, but the RedBlacks were driving in the 3rd. Brown to the rookie, Nick Mardner. He breaks a tackle, gets a block, and he is gone. 64-yard catch and run as Ottawa takes the 3-point lead. The Lions look to answer on their next drive. Rourke, though, under pressure, he gets hit, and the football is out. The RedBlacks recover the 2nd turnover of the game for the Lions. And later in the 3rd, Ottawa driving, and it's Brown to Mardner again, and he'll get in for his 2nd touchdown of the quarter. That stretches the lead to 10 as we move to the 4th quarter after BC cut the lead to 3. Scary moment here. Acklin falls hard on the turf in the end zone. He stayed down for around 20 minutes. Acklin, thankfully, conscious and had all movement in his extremities. He was taken to hospital, though, for further evaluation. But the RedBlacks win again, unbeaten now in their last 6 games. They haven't lost since week 5 as the Lions are now on a 5-game losing streak, and a little bit concerning for BC. Nathan Rourke now has 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles in his 2 games returning to the CFL, while Drew Brown gets his 6th win of the season, which is the most by any quarterback in the CFL this season. Now, with their thoughts on this, let's go to Kate and the panel.
Alongside Enoch Mwamba, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel, and don't look now, the Ottawa RedBlacks continue their tear. They are 7-2-1 on this season. They have yet to lose at TD Place. And last week we saw that awesome performance by Jeremiah Masoli. It was so great to see him back. And then in this performance, Drew Brown comes in. He throws for 390 yards using all kinds of different weapons. Matty D, it was a thing of beauty for Ottawa.
Yeah, a lot of talk lately about the quarterback carousel and the talent we have in this league. You know, the depth. Got veteran quarterbacks coming back, and at the end of the day, they are flush in Ottawa. And you saw it with Drew Brown stepping in there. Maybe some talk and some whispers about, should Masoli be the starter? And it's like Bobby Dice said, no, this is our guy, and he proved why. He can sling it all over the yard, and he was protected tonight as well. He had 0 sacks by the BC Lions, and they had some turnovers now, but at the end of the day, you guys got to hang on to the football, and he was delivering. He had 3 guys go over 90 yards, and I thought that the 19 total touches by Rock Armstead was huge in controlling the line of scrimmage. Obviously, they're late, but Drew Brown really loving life in Ottawa right now, and why not when you got a defense like that? He not come in because those guys were balling, but this kid is flat out distributing the football. 7 different receivers caught the rock, and when you look at that stat sheet, and you go, Dominic Rhymes only had 1 catch for 9 yards, and Drew Brown threw for almost 400. That's crazy. That's just talent all over the place.
Man, I'll tell you what, that defense came and they showed up. And really it was the defensive line, all of them. You got Wakefield, Cleon Lang, and Malden, as well as the other. All of them made plays on Nathan Rourke tonight. They made his life really, really difficult tonight. Got to him multiple times, forced fumbles on him multiple times. Got a pick here by McGee as well. I mean, they made plays all night long. Got the ball back to Drew Brown, to your point, Matty, and Ottawa was able to take advantage of that. You talk about one guy that was active all night as well, linebacker right in the middle. Javon Santos-Knox led the defense with 8 tackles, and the athletic play jumped so high with 32 inches when he came out of UMass, and it looks like he got even higher. So it looked like he got a 42-inch vertical, but blocked the field goal as well and stopped the momentum completely for the defense, for the Winnipeg, the Blue Bombers. The BC Lions.
We'll get there. You know what? Poor Sean White, by the way. And when it comes to the BC Lions now, I mean, this is a team that's lost 5 straight games. We've seen Nathan Rourke in 2. He was better in this game, but still no TDs. Yeah. But Milt, if Vernon Adams is healthy, who are you starting moving forward?
Nathan Rourke is the future, but right now I'm going with Vernon Adams because I know what this guy can do when he gets in there. And I think Rourke needs more games to get acclimated, but they don't have time for more games. They have a losing record right now. They have Winnipeg in front of them, Saskatchewan in front of them. I'm putting Vernon Adams in the game and allowing him to do his thing. When he got hurt, they were 5-2. This team is 5-6 right now. They've lost 5 games. And I know before he got hurt, he wasn't playing the best, but I think right now Vernon Adams gives this team the best chance to win, and they need to win right now.
It's amazing how much things have changed. With the Bombers, you just said they have the same record now as the BC Lions, the way they started the season. And for the Ottawa RedBlacks, I mean, I keep saying it, but how great for these home fans to finally see a winning season. They continue to roll, and the best part is we get these 2 teams again next weekend as we send it back to SportsCenter.
Here's a look at Rourke's numbers through these 2 starts this season. Not exactly what BC was hoping for when they made him the highest paid quarterback in the CFL starting next season. He had a 9-2 record in 2022, but he's already lost that many games in the last 7 days. Lions and RedBlacks, though, meet again in Victoria next Saturday. It's the first Touchdown Pacific game. All right, new on SC. Let's hear from Drew Brown with Claire Hanna.
Drew, just a fantastic night for you. You almost had 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, just 1 interception. What can you say about your game tonight?
I felt like Tommy called a great game. And the guys made plays. All I got to do is just try and figure out what they're doing and get them the ball. And we were able to do that tonight. So it's exciting. It's fun.
One thing you talked about was not being complacent with these wins. You remain undefeated at home. Do you think you guys are taking steps forward?
I do. I think we're getting better each week. But we got to be probably a little bit more disciplined, and that's got to be a priority for us moving forward. And then I can't turn the ball over and just make stupid mistakes. It's just that's not good enough. Sometimes you get away with it. Our defense played great tonight. Our special teams played great, so they kind of picked us up when we turned the ball over.
We saw Nick Martiner get his first touchdown and then his second of his career. What can you say about just some of these young guys elevating their game?
Yeah, I mean, Nick, we get on Nick all the time, because he can be very good if he wants to be. And the growth that he's showed since he's gotten here has been really exciting. And I'm sure that, this is encouraging for him and all of us, with him coming along. Anytime you have a guy that has that frame and can play the way he can, it's scary for defenses. So,
well, congrats on the win. Thank you, Drew.
Thank you.
They just talked about Nick Martiner. Let's hear from the rookie who had the 64-yard touchdown catch tonight.
Well, Nick, you're a rookie in the CFL. You finally get your first touchdown tonight. Then you get your second. Just how did that feel for you?
You know, it's really emotional for me. You know, like a lot of people counted me out. The long year last year, the last 2 years in college, it's just been, you know, it's been long. It's been a lot of adversity. So, you know, I'm blessed. Thanking the guy up above, thanking my parents, they in the stands, my girl. So, you know, I'm blessed.
One of the things Bob Dice said at the beginning of the season about you was he wanted to see you progress and show off your athleticism. Yeah. How do you think you've been improving in your first year?
I mean, every week, you know, the guys around me are just pushing me. The vets in the room, we have a great receiver room, so these guys are getting on me every day, just trying to, you know, stack a day. And, you know, I got Timo, one of my best receiver coach I've ever had. So, you know, shout out to him.
Now, I know you're here for your first year in Ottawa, but this fan base has been hoping for a season like this. Just what can you say about the product your team's putting out in the field right now?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to keep it coming. You know, this is what Red Black football is all about. And, you know, we're going to keep that train rolling. And, you know, we can't stop. Nobody going to stop us.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Well, reaction from Ottawa. Here's Lions head coach Rick Campbell.
One thing you wanted to work on was pass completion. How would you assess that part of the game?
Yeah, I mean, we were better tonight. I think we were better tonight. There's just key moments in the game where, one, I'll credit them. They made the plays, we didn't. But there's times where a play needs to be made when the odds are in our favor, where we need to get that done, and we're not doing that right now.
How maybe just adjust a little bit in that second half to kind of seem like their defense was playing a bit tighter?
Yeah, maybe they were. We'll have to look at it. Like I said, I'll give them credit. They made more plays in the second half than we did, and we never could find a way to get it done.
How would you evaluate Nathan Rourke this week?
Yeah, he battles, man. He battles, and he's working, and he's going to continue to keep getting better, and I'm glad we got him.
What's the message for you right now? I mean, it's got to be tough where you make strides.
Yeah, we got to keep working. It's the West is wide open, and yeah, we're fortunate this year with the way that the standings are, that there's some, I don't know what you want to call it, room for error, or I don't know what that is, but we need to keep going and keep playing because we're right in the thick of it. And I've seen us play better. So if we were playing our best football and we couldn't win, I'd be nervous. But I think if we can, find ways to get better, then we can be in the mix for sure.
How do you feel about playing this team now again next week?
Good. That's good. I mean, it's going to be tough, but it's good when you lose like this to get another chance at it. You don't always get second chances, so we get another chance next week to try to beat them.
Week 12 wraps up tomorrow, 7 Eastern. We got the Elks and Alouettes. Here are the odds, courtesy of FanDuel. The Owls are favored by 7.5. Austin Mack making his season debut for Montreal. He is even money to score a touchdown. He was 5th in the league last year with just over 1,150 yards. Let's go back to Ottawa and hear from Lions quarterback Nathan Rourke.
Reflect on the game.
Yeah, first off, our prayers are with the Acklins. That's always scary, always scary to see and see it up close. It seems like there's been a lot of those in the last couple of weeks, so it's tough. I got to know him a little bit. We did a workout in Denver the end of 22. He's a great person, obviously playing really well. Our thoughts and prayers are with their family. And then, just the bitter taste in my mouth right now. I thought we didn't do enough. We put our defense in a lot of tough positions. We can't expect to beat a team like this with 3 turnovers. So we got to clean that up.
It looks like a really good start. Where did things, like for your offense, where did things maybe get away from you?
I think we were just executing well early, and we did that in spurts. We got to finish. I don't think that they were doing anything that we weren't expecting. They just made more plays than we did, so credit to them. But I think it starts with me. I think I got to make some more plays. I got to trust our line, trust our guys, stand in there, go through the reads, and make the plays.
Did you feel a little bit more comfortable just with the extra prep this week than last week?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I took a step. Definitely feel more comfortable out there. Get into a little bit of rhythm, but at the end of the day, it's not good enough. So we got to go back and we got to take care of business next week.
Do you like the idea of facing them again so quickly?
Yeah, I think overall the idea of back-to-back is something I'm not super fired up about, but in this case, I'm not opposed to it. I feel like we left a lot out there, and so I'm glad that we know what we're going to expect from them and kind of go from there.
You must have liked the play call on 3rd and 7, hey, to like give yourselves more chances. Just what do you like about some of these decisions you guys are at least making and executing on?
Yeah, I think Coach Campbell does a great job with game management. I think he's just made some excellent decisions. We always love it as an offense when he's trusting us, and we're able to ride that momentum. I think that's always a positive thing. But he keeps trusting us. We got to keep making plays.
Here's an updated look at the standings. The Ottawa RedBlacks, you see now 7-2-1. They haven't hosted a playoff game since the 2018 Eastern Final. Still a ways to go, but they're trending to end that in the coming months. The West, it could change dramatically in the next couple of weeks. You got the classic Labor Day matchups featuring home and home series between the Bombers and Riders and the Stamps and the Elks. And BC and Winnipeg tied with their 5-6 records, but Winnipeg does hold that tiebreaker. With more, let's go to Rod Smith.
The feel-good story last week for Ottawa, Glenn, was Jeremiah Masoli getting his first start in over a year, getting his first victory since 2021. But it was quite clear, Bob Dice, when Drew Brown is ready, he's going back to Drew Brown, and we got a good reason to see why he did.
Yeah, well, Drew Brown this year has thrown for almost 500 yards in a game. He's thrown for over 300 yards a couple of times, and he had another big game. Just missed one, the Calgary start that you just mentioned with Masoli, but Drew Brown picked up where he left off. I mean, from the beginning of the game, he was slinging it, real accurate on the deep balls. He had 3 receivers in the 90s, Braylon Addison, Nick Marner, and Justin Hardy. And Hardy was a 100-yard receiver. So final numbers for Drew Brown in his first game back from after missing one, 28 of 37, 390 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception.
Well, you mentioned Nick Marner's name, and he's been an interesting story. When the draft took place several months ago, and they really liked his potential coming out of Auburn, and they took him very high with their first pick, 2nd overall. To this point, halfway through the season, he hadn't picked up a touchdown. He really broke loose in this game.
Yeah, he did, and it was from real disciplined route running. And Nick Marner's got such a big upside. He's a big target. He's got great speed, and he showed it. This first touchdown, he made T.J. Lee miss when he caught the ball and then outran the angles with great speed to get that first one. And here's the second one on the night where he came back on Ragumba, got the separation, turned the corner, and scored 2. So he's on the board in the touchdown department.
And Jalen Acklin already had been. He scored a touchdown earlier in the night, but that was just another frightening scene we've seen recently in the Canadian Football League as Acklin went up for the ball, came down, and landed very awkwardly. And there was a delay in the game as they took every precaution to bring an ambulance on the field and take him to hospital.
Yeah, really unlucky hit because it was a clean play by T.J. Lee trying to separate the receiver from the football. He went down awkwardly. The initial reports and examination have come back, and they've said that he's got movement in all his extremities, and it looks like he'll be fine, but they'll do more examination as the night goes on and into tomorrow.
That early report, based on what we're hearing, moving the extremities, that he's conscious, the best possible news that the RedBlacks could get compared to anything on the field. That said, they've had a lot of good news playing football as well as they remain unbeaten here at TD Place, the only Canadian Football League team that can say that right now. And these two teams get set to meet yet again, Touchdown Pacific, next week in Victoria.